God damn it, why is it zoomed in? Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Tom's Mouth and me. No. Welcome everybody to the Momentum Mod Team Q&A stream number 17. We've done 17 of these. We're almost, 18 months. 17. This is the 17th month, yeah. Way too many. No, I'm just kidding. As long as you guys still have questions in our Discord, we're here to answer them. So, hi, my name is Nick, aka Gocnak. I'm the founder and development lead of Momentum Mod. I'm joined with some of the lovely team members, and we'll go through, I guess, kind of introduce. Well, it's actually just three of us. We do have Bray, but she's ill. So let's go down the list, I guess. Introduce yourselves, and we'll get going.
Hi. Yeah, so it's me. I'm False. I do a lot of the 3D artwork for the game. If you've checked out the team... Okay, I'll get that into that later, because that's the next question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Working on some defrag rocket launcher. Yeah.
And hey, I'm Tom. I'm mostly doing web dev at the moment, but I sort of work on a bunch of different parts of the game. So.
Cool. All right. We'll go ahead and move on to our communal, like, every stream question, what we've been up to. So I'll go first because it's pretty easy. I've been mainly focusing on a bunch of interview related stuff still, so a bunch of life fun. I had a really great experience on my bike where the front brakes worked really, really well. It turns out, if you use the front brakes really suddenly on your bike, your body is kind of keep going. And so, I got a little bit of road rash. They're healed pretty much. This was like a week ago. So they're healed, but I got some bandages and stuff. So, healing from that, but been pretty much reviewing code, working towards kind of making sure that everything's like kind of coming together, more administrative stuff. But I'm planning on actually jumping back into momentum specific coding stuff very soon, like probably within this like week-ish, probably give or take.
Vacation, right?
Exactly. So when I get back from vacation, which will be probably next week from now, so 8 days or something. But yeah. Really exciting stuff is being cooked up. And in fact, I could probably speak to a bit of that to kind of compensate for my lack of progress on my end. So Rio in particular is working on a lot of great stuff in relation to run validation. So anticheat, right? The whole umbrella of anticheat. There's not just one system, but one of the systems in that is going to be run validation, making sure that the replays and things that you're doing in the game make sense from the sense of like a fair kind of, standpoint. Nobody should be able to no clip through walls to get a great time or something like that. So so we're working on that system, but Rio's really taken charge on that. So they're basically making a ton of great progress in the actual framework that we're going to be using. And let's just say it gets really fast, or it's going really, really well, in the sense that we can scale this and probably process upwards of around an hour's worth of replay per second. So that's where we're currently at. There's no optimizations done. We also haven't tested worst case, so it could actually drop down a bit depending on the maps, but obviously longer maps are not going to be submitted as much, right? So it'll be the trade-off there. But really, really excited for the progress being made there. Peen Screaker is also not here. Been making really excellent progress for aspect ratio, specific panorama fixes, as well as CGAS. So networked CGAS was shown off, I think, in the last stream, kind of Fan Games Marathon. That was actually another thing. We did the Fan Games Marathon. Hello, everybody from the Fan Games Marathon, if you're joining us. That was a great showcase of Momentum Mod's different we did Surf, Bunny Hop, A-Hop, Conc, Defrag, and Rocket Jump and Sticky Jump. And it was split across 2 days. So it was a great showcase of what the game currently has. we're going to be playing a bit more of it after all of these questions as well. So we did that, but getting the networked CGAs in there, as well as maybe changing some of the defaults, getting the synchronizer so that bee hoppers and just strafe enthusiasts can see their gain, see how well they're gaining speed per strafe, and the aspect ratio fix. So, and then also a bug with word wrapping. So there were some elements in our UI where text was not wrapping around properly.
Actually, one of the most annoying bugs we've had,
yeah,
like in a while. Being just literally fucking
dug into it, went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
yes, and found the solution there.
Nice.
So we're excited to get that in. We can't showcase it yet. It's not merged. It's being reviewed right now. Slidey has been.
Stuff, though.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, we can showcase the CGAS as well as the bhop strafe synchronizer. So that'll be awesome. Slidey's been working on, I believe, a bunch of miscellaneous internal, like our 092 board is a ton of miscellaneous kind of bug fixes and stuff, and also getting the manual replay recording in place as well. So now you can actually record a manual replay if you want to. You don't have to use demos anymore. And a ton of other work. I mean, I'd have to go through the changelog to see exactly, but it's a ton of great work there. Zen's been helping out with that as well. And then, Tom's been doing a ton of website work. Let me see if I'm missing anybody. Sorry. Bray's been out on vacation. So, and BLT is also studying stuff or working on thesis stuff right now. So, kind of, a little busy on our end. We are
got a lot going on this summer. Breaks and stuff.
So that's kind of factored in, right? We're kind of factoring in the fact that nobody can really work on this 24/7 all the time. So it's all part of it. But the rest of the team's also just been kind of working through the new features. For example, our Learn team, people making the Learn maps. So Granis, I believe Ninja Cookie's also working on some. There's a bunch of work that's being done specifically for those entities or those that process. We don't have anything really to show today, but we're adding a lot of the stuff that's needed for that team. So the Learn team's still going there. Okay.
We got our new boy Lumper.
Oh yes, Lumper. That's right.
With my new team member on Bird, who's been doing a bunch of Discord bot work.
Yes.
Which is really nice of him, but it's really useless because it's just a Discord bot.
It's an internal Discord bot.
Right. So he's been writing really great code on that. And then took interest in doing some tooling work for us, which we'll hopefully have in time for 010, which is when map porting is going to be taken a lot more seriously by us.
Yes.
So basically, the minimum, what we're starting off with is entspy, but not shit.
Yes.
Not written in,
Java.
In 2005. And then we'll be expanding that to do a bunch of other stuff as well, and making it very, very useful for just sort of streamlining.
The tedious map review process.
Which is nice. So
yes,
another open source repo.
Yes, fully open source. So again, any contributions towards open source repositories is a key. If you don't have a key, definitely helping out on the website, as well as our bots that we're going to be eventually developing right now. Again, the public bots on Discord and Twitch that we plan to have require the backend to be rewritten. So that's what's currently happening. And so Lumper is aiming to be just this really nice tool to help us with our map review process, as well as just prepping maps for submission. So people could use Lumper on their own if they have map porting they want to do, to help us prep for the 010 map wave. A lot of people keep asking about when maps are going to be added. 010 is going to be when we're like hardcore focusing on it. New zone format, that's going to be pretty much the final one, hopefully. And then the influx of maps and entity fixes that are needed for a lot of maps in particular to prep the maps for 1.0. So, cool. And then, so Tom's been working on a website, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we've got to fucking get the API finished. And
right.
We're getting there. So our old API is kind of junk. It's not that bad. It's just it's a bit
written in 3 months.
Yeah, it was kind of rushed and using Express in pure JavaScript as opposed to TypeScript, and it's just kind of, you can sort of see its age already. That's kind of a thing with just fucking Node web dev.
Right.
But you can really tell with this that like there's just quite a bit of stuff that's a little rough around the edges, and it's been very hard to like do new stuff on it, and it doesn't scale up well as we like add new features. So yeah, we've had this rewrite in mind for like ages. Then the last 6 months, it's actually like been properly moving forward. I'm sort of working on that pretty much constantly for my momentum work at the moment.
We're having
Really
great
moved
help.
over to some Pano stuff.
Yeah.
We've been getting some contributions. Ospo's been getting some great stuff in. We've got some PRs, I think, in the work for a few other people, like Neen, and maybe some new people coming in. That's really nice. If anyone else is interested in web stuff, get in touch with me. I'm really happy doing like initial setup. I've got a 3-hour YouTube video just going over a bunch of stuff, but I'm generally very available for like if you want to just come chat and voice with me and like get started with stuff. It's pretty good for like, I mean, Nest is somewhat specific as like an API framework, and like we sort of live in this world full of like a billion different frameworks. But if you want to learn some, work of sort of general web backend stuff, this is pretty educational, and pretty accessible, I'd say. Not super hard to get into. I'm happy assigning people stuff. So yeah, you definitely get in touch with me. But overall, that's really been for me. It's just been grinding through the rest of the rewrite. It's doing a lot better now. I mean, this just feels so much cleaner and more organized. I'm really proud of the work done in like the last 3 months. I'm just finishing up the whole run submission stuff, which is by far the most complicated. Where that's been sort of me spending about 2 weeks working pretty heavily on that. Where it's basically run submission is we get a replay file from the client from the game. We then have to process that file itself, just as a buffer. Then, what do we do? I can't forget. Excuse me. We do that. We have to validate the replay file, which is not anti-cheat. The validation we do is pretty weak here because it's anti-cheat. It's like its whole other thing. But then, oh, sorry, I just slammed my keyboard by mistake.
Gotta watch out for that slamming.
And what was the other stuff? Sorry.
So you're working on the run validation stuff. So I'm just kind of truncating.
Keep a train of thought as I try and comically. So
it's all good.
Yeah, it's just stuff like calculating ranks, calculating XP.
Yes.
Loads of DB stuff.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, that's nearly done. So that'll be nice. And then when the rewrite's done. Oh, it's going to be so much nicer. It'll really improve like the stats we collect, just the overall speed of everything. We'll be much more confident in like scaling up and having way more concurrent players. So yeah, that's basically me just in web dev hell for the next like month or two.
Yeah, it's definitely better than where it was, though. So it's like it is a hell. It is a necessary kind of evil to do, mainly because it's getting it properly set up for the future. So it's a much more maintainable, much more testable, right, system, as opposed to the 3-month-long college project that was the original API.
Right.
That was just being, Jenga towered, built on top of until it topples, right? Until it is unmaintainable because it's just pure JavaScript as opposed to TypeScript, which is we're still in the NPM sphere.
It's really hard to maintain that old
Exactly.
stuff. This one's going to scale way better. And for me, I've just been able to learn loads of shit. I've not really done much API work before. I've done a little bit years back, like for just like old school Express stuff. But I've been like, I've got all the HTTP codes memorized now. I actually know that shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's been like a big steep learning curve for me in the last 3 months. But now I'm sort of on top of everything. It's quite satisfying to work on. So, but I still just want it done.
Especially because you're not working from scratch. There's a lot of things that are figured out that are just a matter of translation to the new framework as opposed to the new features. So once we get into new feature territory, it'll be even more fun. Because right now it's grunt work, and then later on it's going to be fun, innovative stuff to do.
Yeah, I don't. Rather than I can dedicate all my time to just getting angry at Prisma, which is really good. So.
Makes me question whether or not it was worthwhile, but it does a lot of things really well. So it's the trade-off. But cool. And then I guess moving on to Ethan, if you want to talk about what you've been up to.
Yeah, sure. So lately, I mean, you can see it in Team Showcase. It's the defrag rocket launcher.
Oh,
I've been working on it
yes.
for a
Yeah.
while, just because I've been a bit busy. But yeah, it's there. You can look at it. And I've also been sick with COVID a little bit. I think I'm good now.
Yeah, COVID's kind
Yeah,
of surging.
it's been hitting the rounds of the team.
Yeah.
Even
What is-
Dogathan's got it.
Hopefully he recovers.
Yeah,
Dogathan's
Dogathan.
our team pet, so hopefully Dogathan lives.
Yeah. I've been working on. Well, I will be working on getting a ton of animation, like finished animations that Spring Scale or an animator had have been doing
Yeah.
for the past few months, and yeah, we'll have finally be seeing some of that awesome art stuff in game with new
can't
hands
wait.
and like proper hand view models.
Yeah.
And
There's
yeah,
a real
it'll be
backlog of
definitely
really
real
good art stuff that just hasn't made it into the game yet. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that's
Yeah.
basically done but just isn't in yet. So
Yeah,
that's going to be great to have.
yeah. Other than that, yeah, there's not like as much specifics to talk about. It's just
It's all good.
grinding it, grinding it out. But
Yeah.
it's been
I-
going well. Slow and steady. In the art side.
Heck yeah. And if, open invitation, if any of these things sound interesting to you, if you want to learn or apply what you know, or learn and apply what you know, definitely reach out to the team. We do have a Google form to sign up thing for, but I don't have the link for that offhand. But yeah, if any of you are interested in that, again, joining the team and helping out, yeah.
Just post in the Discord that you're interested. Like someone will hook you up.
Yeah. We can always
really
use
need
as
animation talent.
Yes.
Yeah, anyone that is interested in animation, please get in touch.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah, mostly Blender Paul, is how we do it. We love
Yeah.
Blender. Blender is just
Yeah. So, well, I guess we'll move on to the next. Okay, scrolling. Sorry about that. Moving on to the first asked question of the stream.
Oh, sorry, I was going to read, wasn't I?
I believe so.
I can do it. So NotEagle asks, will mappers be able to link stuff from entities to Panorama UI, e.g. linking speaker to EMV speaker to the music slider?
So there's limitations to this. Obviously, we don't want to allow mappers to kind of fully control a game client. There's people that have specific needs too, that want music turned off and stuff like that. So having a map turn your music back on to like full blast or something like that would be awful. But having elements on the HUD that pop up from something that you do in the map, maybe like a message, there's HUD hints and things like that, HUD messages, things like that pop up. Absolutely. We can look into customizing that even more, adding more specific panels for like a generic kind of thing, like if there's like tasks in a map that you have to do, like collectibles or things like that you have to get. That could actually tie in with a HUD element. The problem becomes, right, people have specific way, like when you have unlimited customization around HUDs and things like that, it kind of gets annoying. People might not want to see it. People, and then they'll miss it on a new map that uses it. So there's a lot that would go into that kind of linkage, but we could at least at the very bare minimum tie it up with the HUD messages, HUD hints, kind of like that you could show a player when they hit like a trigger or something for a bare minimum. And then looking at what would be realistic in the sense of like hooking up to controls. The problem, or I guess what this question, right, with mSpeaker to the music slider, the idea is that if you use music in your map and it's pathed a specific way, so it actually is based on the folder that it's like packed into the map into. If it's packed into a music folder, the music slider actually affects it, and that is something that's going to be happening in our porting effort. Is we're going to be converting all the maps that have that glaring music into actual the proper like subfolder, so that the music slider in your settings actually affects that. Now, yeah, the other way around, where it's like a mapper being able to change the value of that slider, probably not. That's just the clear boundary there. We don't really want to give mappers the ability to do that, mainly because of just, like it there are people that will complain to us about that, even though it's the map doing it. So stuff like that, we just kind of want to sidestep. But having that ability to show information that makes sense, it's not too obtrusive, as well as having the elements in the map controlled by settings, like the various volume sliders that we've added actually. That's kind of the goal there, is at least that's currently planned. If there's great ideas that come up in the future of potential linkage, we could look into that too. But it really has to be like, this is something that will be used and not be too intrusive to the end users, like HUD layout that they would have. Because again, we also plan to have a completely customizable HUD, right? Like you can drag and drop anything anywhere, right? That's kind of the goal in the future.
So yeah, the intrusiveness is kind of like the reason why a mapper shouldn't really be allowed to, like, they shouldn't themselves be able to control like the overall volume or something, right? Like it will essentially be a requirement for maps being submitted that if your map has music, it needs to be using this folder structure so that users can change the volume of the music, because it's just annoying, right? Like most people don't want to hear the same music repeated all the time on a map. So,
and same with ambient sounds. Bray mentioned.
Yeah.
Well. Ambient sounds, any soundscapes.
There'll be a handful of different sliders, I think. I forget I think it will
weapons
related stuff. It will mostly be ambient and music, but also a lot of like player stuff, like footsteps and weapons. But stuff like hooking up. Yeah, if something like ENV speaker hooked to the music slider, that's either going to be something that is a guideline or a requirement, essentially, or it sounds like something that's sort of asking a bit too much, just giving the mapper a little bit too much control. Keep in mind, we're not like a sandbox game, right?
Right.
And in terms of the HUD thing, it would really be something of like an existing HUD element that the map has a degree of control over, but we're not going to do like, let a map make a new HUD element, right? So, and we know, from years of this happening, that mappers tend to be really creative with the tools you give them, and like even with quite limited tools. So like if it is just a couple of like text-based UI elements that they can manipulate, that actually gives you tons of freedom to do stuff, right? Like it's not like we need to give you like a massive load of sort of super elaborate things.
Right. Those are better reserved for things that we would be having natively in the game, like our learn section would probably have those dedicated UI elements.
Yeah, but also if you've got a really good idea for like a UI element you'd like your map to have, if that's something that could benefit lots of maps, then it's potentially a new element we could make, right?
Exactly.
It's just an individual map isn't going to be able to make like a whole new UI thing. That's one other thing I was going to say that I forgot. If you wanted the thing was like collectibles. I do think we should be doing a dedicated bit of collectible UI and ideally making that quite customizable. So for those who don't know, we've got this collectible system that's very basic. It's really just tracking like it's just some counter, right? That just tracks like the number of some times you've hit a trigger, basically, and it just lets you control the count. You can do it with existing hammer logic, but it's just ridiculously overly complicated. So we have this quite nice, simple collectible system that in itself is like basically all you need to do like really powerful non-linear map layouts, which is something we'll have better support for in 0.10 anyway. I think there like I'd like the idea of having a like customizable HUD element there, so like the map could like specify like the icon for like the collectible or something like that. That would make a lot of sense, as opposed to like Exile's Oreo map or whatever, where it's literally attaching like an Oreo prop to the player model or something, and so you always see it in like first person on your screen. Having support for that would be really good. So yeah. But
was there any other input for this? Cool. Okay. Thank you for the question, NotEagle. Hopefully that helps clarify. This is a copyrighted materials question. So
Disres asked, what will you do about people potentially using copyrighted material in their maps?
So this will tie in with Zike's question. Zike actually asked a very similar question and then followed it up with some examples. So we'll get to Zike's kind of like example-based questions in a bit. So starting with Disres. As I was talking about, for something weird that totally happened, Thank you, Comcast. Anyway, as I was saying, the goal of Momentum is not to be a copyright Nazi in the sense that we don't want to stifle creativity. Now, obviously, we don't want to be a harbor for fucking like every pop song in existence in every map. There's going to be some limits, right? We're going to have to lean specific ways and specific properties, right? With Nintendo or other properties that are more litigious, more likely to sue if we ended up distributing maps that have copyrighted assets or use copyrighted material, I guess. It also depends on like where, like in the sense that like, oh, okay, it's a Nintendo themed map, but I created everything, right? Like I hand made everything. Then that's actually, I mean, that's technically fair use, assuming that you aren't claiming copyright over what you've made, right? Like you're not owning Mario or something, right? Now, again, I'm not a lawyer, if that's not clear enough already, but it's really just erring on the side of caution. So if there's like very egregious, like you've uploaded all of Katy Perry's songs in this map, I think we're gonna remove those. That, you know, like we can't do that, right? Like that kind of level of recording it's not live. No, sorry, your webcam was saying recording pause. That was weird. Anyway, so yeah, the entire goal that we would have is just more of a safe harbor approach. So if there are maps that contain copyrighted materials, right, ideally we'd be getting some sort of a notification. We would have a report system as well. So if there's the you know, the lower case of copyright infringement of like somebody stealing somebody else's map without, or something, right, decompiling a map or something, right, if people are upset about that aspect, we'll have a report form for that, as well as any copyrighted materials. Though the eventual goal is to separate out assets that are packed inside of a map from the actual map itself. This is kind of, I teased this under previous Q&A streams as the Momentum Asset Atlas. And the idea here being that every map can technically strip out all of its assets, all of its sounds, all, you know, models, textures, and put it into a separate cloud bucket. And then all we do is we ship the map and the manifest file for our site. And then when you download a map or like play a map, we just stream in the content from our cloud buckets. And so the idea there is that if there are maps that reuse the same, even if it's the same like map artist with private like assets, it would reuse the same ones and you would only download them once. And then also, you know, if there are big texture or model packs or whatever, it could be on this atlas, and then mappers could have access to this atlas to be able to use in their maps. So they could see popular tree models, popular whatever, right? Like grass texture or whatever. And that would actually be very easy to use in your map because it's not only used in a ton of maps already, but it's, you know, so they're likely to have that on their disk already, but it's also just like a way that we could just, kind of distribute all of the custom assets without packing it in every single map or shipping it with the game directly. Now that's down the line. I wish to write a blog post about this kind of stuff just to kind of go more in depth as to what the system will look like, including potential Hammer integration. So mappers have a direct asset like browser in Hammer, which will be really cool. So stay tuned for that. But the idea with copyrighted materials specifically and how it relates to that is if there are copyrighted materials, we could actually implement a system, and we will already actually for like CSS assets, we'll implement the system for replacing. So the idea is that if there is a Mario model or something in the map that shouldn't be, we could replace it with something that's similar or another model. And so that way it's kind of like the map itself doesn't have to get removed and purged. It's just the model, just the asset that the copyright holder is upset about. So
yeah, collision meshes can be a bit tricky there, but yeah.
For sure. And I mean, we're actually going to look into separating out the .phy from models and shipping that with the map, and then the MDLs, right, from like Mounted Games or the Asset Atlas would actually be from the cloud buckets. Really, ideally, we're the Asset Atlas is going to be the bigger ticket items, right? The bigger things. So textures, like the material files, you know, the text files, they're small. They can be packed with the map, but the actual VTFs, the actual MDLs, right? Wave files or OGG, I think we support. So those files, right, like would be shipped kind of in these buckets and in a manifest. So yeah, so that's kind of the eventual goal with the asset atlas. Now, yeah, obviously we don't want to distribute copyrighted assets, but we're going to have to play a sense of not ignorance, but in the sense of like we can't be fully diligent around people, like, because again we're kind of asking mappers, hey, do you own the copyright to all the stuff that you're putting in your map, because this is like, right, this is, and then you kind of grant us the ability to be able to distribute it on your behalf, right? You have full control over deleting it too, right, if you want to. But the thing about that, right, is like, when it comes to like rights holder, right, like we're just given access to being able to distribute it through to everyone in the game. So like we want to take that safe harbor approach of like, if there is copyrighted maps, it's just getting flagged, and it's a matter of editing the map if need be. So if there's like maybe some textures that could be replaced like that in the asset atlas or anything like that. Otherwise, if it's a straight up copy or stolen map, right, like somebody else made the map and somebody further like uploaded it that didn't have permission to, that could be another case of that, where it's a copywritten map, right? And we don't want to piss off mappers, right? If there are mappers that have made in fact, that's actually a question further down the line. If there's mappers that have created sponsored or paid maps and that have, are supposed to be for only one server, again, we'll respect that in the sense that sure, like if they don't want it on Momentum, we won't allow it to be uploaded, but we're hoping that down the line, or maybe we could reach an agreement to where maybe these specific maps could be eventually added to Momentum, like a couple years down the line or something like that, where it's like it's so far along the line where it runs its course on a server or something where it was exclusive. And who knows, maybe there's, I guess Momentum is pretty specific to where you could have Momentum specific maps with like portals and stuff that you can't play anywhere else. So I guess we already have Momentum exclusivity already covered with that. And we'll talk about like sponsors and stuff in that later question that we have down the line. So hopefully this this answers this question here about like how we're going to approach copyrighted materials. We're not very strict about it. Obviously, we're hoping that you use assets that we've cleared the copyright to, right? It's public domain or like free use for non-commercial rights or anything like that, that we can ship with the game. We will be shipping asset packs with the game that you can freely use in your maps. No worries about copyright or anything about that. Or, right, that you've done the bare minimum enough to own the copyright of the things that you're putting in your map. So textures, anything that you're, commissioning and stuff like that, making sure that you have the rights to do so. I'm not hoping that copyright trolls are going to be a thing for the game. I'm hopeful, right? It's very niche. In fact, Zike's long-winded question kind of leans into that, where it's like, are people really going to know, right? Is Nintendo really going to know if something, is copyrighted or whatever in there? Are we really going to be seeing it? But we're erring on the side of caution of, we're just going to play the safe harbor role of, if there is, we'll remove it right away. There's no problem, right? If there's actual legal like teams coming to us and being like, hey, this is copyrighted things, remove it, we'll remove it. So
one thing is that like, even if we didn't think it was copyrighted, we don't really have like legal grounds to like deny that, right? Or to challenge something like that. So
yeah,
I don't know, like it.
Yeah, obviously we don't want to tank Momentum because one map had Nintendo content, right? Like we don't want to die legally speaking as an entity because somebody decided to upload Katy Perry's album or some shit, right? Like we would want to make sure we're doing our part of like, hey, this has a lot of music in it that's like, it's cool to have like custom music, but like this is like a lot of like pop music or something that could be like construed as like, this is like just distributing, right? We're not trying to be a distribution site for albums or whatever. So so we'll make sure we're doing our part of like in our map review process, looking for potentially problematic assets that would be leaning towards copyright infringing or like could be problematic, and just like kind of hinting or suggesting the mapper could change it, or getting proof of that they've created it or anything like that. So there's steps that we could take to kind of ensure that we aren't going to get to that point, but we don't want to outright block things. Like we don't want to outright block Nintendo themed maps or anything like that, because again, you should be allowed to do that under US copyright law, right? You should be able to create fair use maps using other people's like licensed like things, but obviously, right, you got to be careful.
I think in
Significantly.
practical terms, so like again, if we wouldn't be able to fight something if like Nintendo were like remove this and we were like, no, it's fair use. Like we're not gonna have a legal dispute with Nintendo, right?
Right.
Basically would have to do what Nintendo say.
Yes.
Even if we didn't think it was legally valid, we're not lawyers and we're not paying lawyers.
Yes,
A
we
lot of it
could.
would just be
Yeah.
like if something was really obviously Nintendo themed, maybe we don't want to do it like in like some major live stream event, like maybe Surf
Exactly.
doesn't want to play like Surf Super Mario or whatever.
Right. Right.
That's the thing it seems most likely to sort of provoke the ire of Nintendo and other sort of big litigious game companies.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And that's the thing. Even like the $5,000 in our open collective won't cover like a week of lawyer. I don't even think it'd probably be the deposit towards a lawyer if we wanted to fight. So yeah. So it's not a game that's not a game we want to play. So it's definitely going to be something we'll look out for, and just make sure on our part we're doing enough to make sure that we're not going to potentially be in hot water, and just make sure that we're appeasing the people that have been wronged in the sense of copyrighted materials there. So Acid Atlas will definitely help, because if it's like, hey, you have this map with a Mario model and that's our stuff, we remove the Mario model and we're like, okay, the map has been remedied to remove the copyrighted material and no longer exists. And then remedied Super Mario. But ideally, right, like, so that'll help. That's another measure that we're going to be taking to help.
I love Super Mario.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll move on to Zike's question, which is a follow-up to this. Thank you, Disres, for opening that, and thank you, Zike, also for furthering the question there. We'll answer this part now too.
Yeah. So Zike's is then, what about gold source assets (conc maps), non-Valve assets such as /Nintendo, copyrighted songs at the end of maps? What if it's hidden and hard to find or see?
So, specifically with gold source, we can't mount gold source. We can try our best to add support for it, but WAD files, right? Like it's a different file format entirely, that we would have to kind of from scratch support. We could try to do it, because again, Steam will allow us to get into the directories of those gold source games. Though right now, I think the textures are small enough to where I guess it wouldn't be a problem, or it's not heavily used. It depends on the map, though. So again, that's kind of the goal with the Acid Atlas, would be to create art packs that could effectively be replacements for those. For example, Trazox's B-Hop Old School, right? Creating those low bitrate like kind of textures, or low resolution textures rather. Bitrate, yeah, sorry, it's not video.
It's really slow.
Yeah, they're really choppy. Anyway, no, the low resolution textures, right? Adding replacement packs for that would actually be the way forward, right? We would, or you can go the route of like, just creating these like recreating these assets. Like we've joked about it, like technically if you recreate all of Counter-Strike Source's assets, you could ship them with the game, right? Like, but that is such a monumental effort of just recreating all of these textures, and like, how do you go far enough to where it's like, oh, it is a recreation and the maps don't look different, right? But that's the thing, is like, when it comes to gold source specifically, it's just the way that the game is mounting it that we would probably lean more towards those replacement packs. And right now we might allow them to be packed, but we want in the future, because again, we're going to have so many conc maps that use these gold source assets, that we would love to just create like a texture pack that we could just ship with the game that would replace, it would be named the same, right? And we could just strip it from the map. And then that way those replacement textures are used.
I was just gonna say that I do think Quake 3 has like various remakes, right?
Exactly.
I forget there's some site and some texture maker that just redid all of Quake 3 stuff, I think.
Yes.
And that's something where if we would definitely be interested in just shipping those, right?
Yes.
And then
because they'd be
any
hopefully
equivalent to
smaller.
conc would be perfect, but yeah, I mean they're super small. They're fucking like 2 pixels, but
Right.
then
Right.
but also I think a lot of that is under a permissive license and is potentially stuff we could ship.
Exactly. And that leans into it. So if we could find texture packs that are good enough replacements or straight up replacements, that would be perfect. In the spirit of keeping it open, right? So that's another route that we could take, is finding existing permissive asset packs to include with the game. When it comes to non-Valve assets, again, kind of answered that with the previous question, kind of taking the safe harbor approach of assuming that you either created or didn't just rip from Super Mario 64, something, right? Like where it's like just straight up stolen from another game. I think you have to cross the fair use threshold of like being able to use other people's copyrighted material. So yeah, that's kind of the kind of stance that we're taking there. We're not stifling creativity in the sense that we're just going to kind of blissfully ignorant, like be like, okay, we're assuming that you own the copyright to everything in here. If there's ever any problems in the future, we're going to have to modify the map or remove the map entirely, depending on what the desired outcome is for the copyright holder. So yeah, that's how that'll be carried. And then same with copyrighted songs. Again, don't, if possible, get the rights, right? Get it in knowledge, get some sort of permission from the artist. I mean, there's a ton of artists that would love to have songs, right, in a game, right? It's technically in a video game. So you can find plenty of copyright free, royalty free music that you can use in your maps. Hopefully, just don't put pop songs. We will likely be reviewing, right, audio files, especially because songs are going to be kind of huge in the map. They're going to be like 30, 40 megabyte MP3s or whatever, right, that you're packing in your map. So we're going to know that it's not going to be hidden to us because we're going to be reviewing everything in your map. But and in the sense that ties in with this last question, if it's hidden or hard to find and see, that doesn't really bear like to it, right? Because we're going to be reviewing all of the textures regardless. That's how we're going to find like the porn and gore textures. But the idea is that that won't really weigh into it. It's just how much of it you're using. If it's a potentially litigious like copyrighted subject, like Nintendo, something like that, right? We're going to just lean toward err on the side of caution for those kinds of things. Otherwise, we're just going to assume that you own the copyright for all of the things that you're packing into your map. And again, we're going to do our best to provide things that are great alternatives, and try to offer some sort of middle ground as opposed to just straight up rejecting maps. If there's problematic models or anything, we'll just tally them up and let the mapper know and just be like, quick turnaround around that. But yeah, it will be kind of like based on just what the actual like thing that could be infringing is.
I just wanted to comment. With stuff like music, like I'm personally generally pretty against having music in maps. I do think it's stupid. Like, if you do want to do it though, it should at least be being used in some kind of sort of creative way. It should be something that like is like adding to the map in like a sort of meaningful way, right? As opposed to, so like ambient sort of techno stuff can kind of make sense, but like if you're doing like Katy Perry songs, like don't.
Right.
You don't. There's not what maps are for. Like if it's a big meme fest or whatever, we probably don't want a map selector anyway. I don't know. Like, and if it's, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, it plays into the overall quality of the user experience, and that's part of it. So if it is a meme map or something, right? Well, again, we're not against meme maps. They're going to be unranked, but yeah, one that's very clearly like a joke or meant to just be testing the limits, right? We might, for those, we're going to probably take a harder stance of like, yeah, this is just not going to be allowed. You could remove the song. I mean, you could do like an acapella or, some cover, and those are covered under fair use. So shitty flute, whatever, right? Like that kind of stuff's okay. It's just that would have to be the case and not the full like high definition studio rip of the original song or anything like that. So definitely study up on copyright. If you're ever in question about whether or not something's for use, there's tons of resources online nowadays that help you with that, because YouTubers have to fucking go through this shit, especially music. But yeah, music's probably actually going to be the bigger problem, because it's very clearly audible by people, right? Like they'll hear Katy Perry immediately on booting the map or something. So anyway, right, like there's those aspects where it's like, yeah, if it affects the player user experience, probably going to lean towards removing it on our end. So again, all of that will be communicated to the mapper too in the submission process. So we're not going to just be like, all right, cool map, and then just completely change it, remove everything. That would be problem. Like, we would let them know, hey, like, we're worried about this, this, and this. Like, we're going to probably replace these. What do you think? Like, do you have some replacements in mind? Can you find some replacements? Do you have the right, to use these? Because they're, in an off chance, somebody actually bought a Katy Perry license to distribute her songs in their maps. That would be the weirdest thing, but yeah, I mean, hey, you never know. So yeah, it is a very serious topic, though. It can be very serious because, again, we don't want to be on the negative side of the copyright holders here. We want to and not stifle creativity, right? If somebody has a very awesome Nintendo themed map, we want them to be able to go about it the right way and have all of the players enjoy it as well. So we got to play that middle ground where we will lean some ways in some instances, but otherwise we're going to probably play as blissfully ignorant as we can of, we are assuming that you own the copyright, you agree, like you tell us as you upload the map that you have the copyright, you have the ability to use this copyrighted material. Any other input?
No, I think it's all good.
Mm-hmm. Cool beans. Thank you, Zike and Disres, for those questions.
NotEagle asks Z4A5Y DETQT K9K2W. Oh, sorry, no, that's not right. No, NotEagle asks, can a map get featured / added if it included sponsored content / brand logos?
So this was what I was what I was hinting towards earlier. So if a map has kind of like okay, well, so this is what the map review process is probably going to iron out. Obviously, there are sponsored maps. HardX has created sponsored maps, I believe, for what was it? DreamHack. DreamHack had a sponsored summer thing. I believe I might be getting this wrong, but there have been sponsored maps before, and that is completely fine, right? If companies or other people have incentivized creation of asset or maps or anything like that, and then you have to put maybe a brand or something in there, it's fine, right? Again, it's really weird advertising. It's the same thing as the problem with the lobbies that people were talking about, of like, what happens if you get like a ton of lobbies created that say to go play like KSF or whatever, right? Like, at that point, you have to be in momentum to see it. Now, obviously, we're not going to have banner ads. We're not going to have, like, the user experience of the game should not be affected by the sponsored content. So if it's like, yeah, Surf Summer or anything where there's a lot of logos of maybe like servers or like different companies or anything like that, completely fine. That's okay. If it's in your face, like screen overlays and like really hostile kind of user experience there, obviously not. We're not going to, again, we can't make money from the game either, in the sense that we can't we can't put ad banners in the game for you to make money from your map or whatever. So we're hoping that the map is commissioned and that the art is then bestowed upon us for us to be able to show people, to have people play, right, competitively. So again, leaning towards, hey, if there's a map that was exclusively bought for a server, we'll make sure that we're respecting the mapper's wishes around us distributing it as well. So hopefully striking a deal to put it on later. So if there is a server specific map, we can add it in a year or something down the line. It doesn't really matter to us as long as, because again, I also see the side of it's art that should be conserved, right? Maps are in a way art, and it should be conserved in a way and playable for everybody, not just 30 VIP members or something, right? So we're going to try our best to negotiate a kind of deal towards, I mean, obviously we're not going to buy any maps like that, right? Like we're not going to like counter buy the map or whatever. Like if they don't ever want us to upload it, it's fine. Like we'll never upload it. It's not our responsibility to fight for that. But I believe that, maps should be preserved. I think that we can do our best to try to add as many maps from history, right, as we can. There's a ton of maps that are older, right, but still playable and could be unranked as sort of like, this is what bhop was in 2005 or something, right? Sort of thing, right? Where you can see this is where we've come from, because it's very good to preserve that history and that art. So, we won't be able to, we aren't the Internet Archive at the same time. We're not going to be uploading every single BSP ever created that has a bhop prefix.
There's a lot of
or anything like that.
Maps, right? That just aren't worth,
But that's the thing, and that's a good point brought up in chat. If the game is doing all right, and there's a lot of people, I'm sure that a lot of mappers wouldn't be opposed to having the map also in momentum, because a lot of people will be able to play it, and that's what you would want, unless you got a fatty paycheck, in which case probably not. But
in a lot of cases, like you're being sponsored to put a bunch of brands or whatever in your map just because wherever it's getting played, that's it. People are.
That's the ad, right? Yeah, you'll see it.
Right. And that's something we don't. I was wondering if there's any companies that we wouldn't allow. Personally, I'd be against, say, fossil fuel companies. Like, if your map is sponsored by Royal Dutch Shell, fuck off. No. I don't know. Maybe we'd argue over that, but I'd
Yeah, there's
It'd be interesting, like if that
within community guidelines.
BP.
BP, like an oil spill map. I think that's tongue in cheek at that point, but like still, who knows? It depends on how it's how it's portrayed, really, and construed. So if it's very clearly bootlicking, like oil companies or some shit, or the Koch brothers,
they were paying you to
to be like, buy more gasoline, petrol, we'll probably be back away a bit again for that, like leaning towards the content of like, okay, like how hostile is this user experience?
Stuff like, seeing like Fnatic or whatever sponsor Surf Summer is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I don't know. It's like
the
whole,
and it doesn't
that a mapper's getting paid for making a map, which is sick. Fucking Lockheed Martin sponsor map.
The other thing to note is that we will be having our own mapping competitions in the future too. So we want to have incentive for mappers to create some really awesome content. Obviously, right now, because the game's not public, we aren't doing that. But as I think 1.0, we're planning to have Surfs Up. Kurt wants to host the next Surfs Up at 1.0. We're gonna plan to have the mapping competition basically very soon after that, to promote just like different game modes and stuff. That's the really nice thing, is we can have different categories for different game modes too. And so I think honestly, the idea of a sponsored map doesn't, it really just depends on like the subject matter and the user experience of playing it, and then also whether or not the mapper wants us to be able to add it right in the first place. So we'll be very careful around that, but yeah. So hopefully that answers that question. Thank you, NotEagle. We'll continue to the next.
Silas asks, if you add VR, how would you prevent people vomiting all over?
It's very simple. It's actually a really easy fix. We forwarded this over to the Facebook engineers working on the Meta Quest. We don't support VR.
No. We do. No. We're gonna send everyone like a tarp to like put around the room.
The momentum mod like poncho. Oh
the
my god. Yeah. So no, we aren't supporting VR. It's just not a VR capable platform. I don't really know what to say. You can't really play it. You can watch things in VR if you want that vomiting experience, but like you can't really.
VR is obviously really interesting for a lot of different game devs and stuff. Like, I'd love to work on something in VR potentially.
It's neat, but it's
modes, right?
But Facebook has a chokehold over it, and I don't know.
I mean,
nothing comes close to the Quest's price, so
yeah. Okay.
It's just it's sad. So it's just sad. So we're not supporting VR in the game. So just don't look forward to that. Hopefully people aren't thinking we are. And specifically because, yeah, it's just not going to be a great user experience. And you can't really play, like for B-Hop, you have to move your camera. So you're going to have neck injuries like 20 minutes in the gameplay. So, yeah, it's just not a good idea all around for our game. It's cool. VR is novel and has some great experiences. I'm not knocking VR. I'm more knocking the future of VR, which seems to be in a chokehold by Meta. So once it gets out of that chokehold, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's where it's going.
Like VR is super interesting. You see why Valve want to like do their Half-Life games or whatever in VR. Like there's loads of really cool shit there. But
yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm visiting a friend in a week that has an Index. And Half-Life Alyx, so I'm gonna actually be able to try it out. Should be cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to play it in like a decade.
I know, right? When it's affordable, when I get an Index for like $100 used.
I totally see why they want to do their new stuff in like it's a totally new.
Yeah, for sure. It can be. It's just very expensive.
But
so hopefully,
and just completely unrelated to us.
Yeah. Maybe. Anyway, thank you, Silas, for this question. Yeah, we're not adding VR. Cool. Moving on.
CubiCub, who I think is here in chat, asked, if you were Valve employees, what would be your dream thing to work on? I wish I could have been the developer that fixed the sniper eating his gun, but unfortunately I didn't get there in time. The last TF2 update.
Yeah.
One of the funniest patch notes I've ever seen.
Apparently, the sniper could eat his view model, and that crashed the client or server. The server. So
funny.
Cool. Spaghetti engine. I love it.
Yeah. I feel like with Valve stuff, like, I mean, it's just not. I don't spend that much time thinking about Valve. I don't know. Valve sort of do their own thing, and like the stuff that they work on. I love the fact, Valve giving their employees a freedom, and Valve being willing to just experiment with shit that never gets released. Like, that's the dream thing for a dev, right? Is to just have that freedom and not have to worry about, how well is this going to sell or whatever. Just work on something that's interesting. But like, I don't know, Valve specific stuff, like in terms of specific Valve IPs, like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's kind of it depends. Because there's kind of conflicting information about how it is to work at Valve and what Valve nowadays compared to where it was 2013, 2015 is, right? So I don't know. I think that the most the thing that I was always interested in was like maintaining engine and open sourcing as much of it as possible. I think that would be cool. Being kind of the open source maintainer for Source and potentially Source 2. I don't know. They planned on doing that, but didn't. I think that would be really, really neat because it would kind of revitalize the Source modding scene. It's kind of stagnated, and probably for good reason. I mean, there's a lot of beta mods out there, like Half-Life 2 beta mods. So, we got to have some variety. So maybe it's better that it's stagnated. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I think that, coming from this SDK experience, there's much more the engine can offer if more was open source. And we're, as Chaos, we're going to try our best to negotiate with Valve about that. An ideal situation, not as a Valve employee, but from Chaos standpoint, is to open source as much of Chaos as we can to get back towards that. Again, having people be able to contribute and fix things, work on Hammer, work on tooling, work on anything in the engine, optimizing like map load times further. Like there's people that have infinite number of people with infinite amount of free time compared to we have to work on momentum and the engine now, right? So having, an open source engine would be great. So as a Valve employee, it would be great to just be the kind of like overseer of that. Unfortunately, right, that doesn't provide Valve money. And if you've studied any of Valve's kind of like internal, the main thing that's coming to mind is the Magic Leap creator. the AR experience, Magic Leap, worked at Valve and actually brought up the idea of the leap at Valve. But the way that it was viewed is it didn't make billions of dollars. There was 0 billions of dollars, so it was scrapped. In the sense that there was no motivation to work on it. Because again, Valve is flat, so you don't have a boss telling you what to do, which is really cool. That freedom, right? Really cool. However, you have to do and provide and produce something of value to the company. Otherwise, you get shit reviews, right? From internally, from the other people in the company, because you're not doing quote unquote anything, right? So you either have to join existing projects like Steam, Dota, CSGO, or work on the latest and greatest VR game, right? That'll knock the market over, and everyone's gonna just buy a VR headset. I don't know. So it's
great to work on. Like, I'd love to work on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think 2013 to 2015 Valve, if I was there, I would love to work on Left 4 Dead 3. Because it was in development then. Like, it was being worked on, but the problems, right, like I would love to work on Source 2 and Left 4 Dead 3 and just like the games that like I've grown up with, right? Half-Life 2, any of the episodes, if they wanted to reboot that, Half-Life 3, if they want to do that, like that would be really fun. Because I grew up with these, and like it would just be like, I love Source. I would love to apply myself towards an official Source project like that. But yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. And nowadays, like if I were a Valve employee now, I'd actually be kind of terrified because I don't know if I could work on these kinds of things. I don't know what's happening at the company. Nobody does really until you work there. So, it's kind of just hard to guess from the outside right now. Back then, it probably was a little easier to guess. Okay, there's a TF2 team that I could be a part of, and anyway, yeah. So it's not. It would be an honor to work at Valve still right now. Like I think that'd be phenomenal. But I don't know how long it would be for. I don't know how long I would last. That's the thing, is like I think all of the things I would want to work on just don't make billions of dollars, so it wouldn't be reviewed or perceived that well internally. So I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of the case here. Yeah, that's kind of my answer there. It's an interesting opportunity though, like to consider. But I would just have to see what's happening right now at Valve inside the company if I ever got in before I could decide really. I'd go shoot the shit with Robin Walker and show him conc. I'd make Momentum Mod an official Valve game. No. I'd bring back old Valve and hire the mod team behind Momentum Mod. They know what they're doing. Anyway, yeah.
Those guys are great.
Except the lead. He suck. Anyway, thank you, CubiCub, for that question. We'll move on to the next.
Oh, I'm sorry. FadedFrank asks, what were the early days of Momentum like?
Right on. So I guess I'll take this. Yeah, Tom, Tom wasn't here. So early days, the 2014 to 2015 era. So we didn't have Discord. So what we ended up doing, well, I guess we weren't really prominent on Discord. We ended up creating a Slack. So it was a Slack. And then the only word that ever got out about the game was through my streams and just like word of mouth of people that were on it was very cult-like. No, the only way that people knew about it is if I streamed development of it. And there wasn't really a goal. So it was just kind of the loose idea of let's create a bunny hop and surf game. No idea of like feature milestones, no planning. And this is all stuff that, I admit fault to, because it's like I didn't really know what should go in a Bee Hop and Surf game other than a timer and a map selector and a leaderboard. I didn't really think about anti-cheat. I didn't really think about how the project could be structured. I mean, the idea of adding TF2 jump was like, oh, that could be something we add after 1.0, after we get it publicly out. That could be like a post, 1.0 update. And this is in combination with I was still speedrunning at the time, speedrunning Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 2 Episode 2 before I took my infamous 1 year break, which is still ongoing. Anyway, no, I did come back to Half-Life 2 after all and got a sub 1 and moved on officially. But anyway, so a lot of in real life stuff happening around this time for me. So graduating high school 2015, going into university 2016, or 2015 and into 2016. So like a lot of kind of real life stuff. It took the back seat for a lot of that. Just real life. And then eventually, Zofa reached out and was like, hey, this project, we shouldn't let this project die. And I felt the same way. I didn't say anything about it. And it was just, it was a matter of Slack DM, a little Slack DM in there of hey, we shouldn't let this project die. We should have a regular meeting. Just keep everybody, even if everybody's busy, just keep everybody up to date. And so we set those up. And then, so this, I believe the first meeting, we have the Bible. We have the meeting Bible.
Yeah, they are there.
They're pinned in the meetings. You have to scroll all the way down because I forgot to clear the old ones. Let me see. Oh wait, no. Oh no, it used to be there. Crap. Okay, I'll have to get that. But we do have the exact.
Yeah, I think I've seen that document.
Yeah. And Zofa was the kickstart to actually taking this way more seriously. So we got the 5 people that were still on the Slack, checking the Slack regularly, around, and we're like, okay, let's do a Saturday meeting at 3 p.m. And it worked out. It just started to be okay, so these are the kind of features I was kind of looking at, and we just started to realize that we need a lot of work done. There were a lot of blockers. And then what happened was Discord started to kind of blow up, and we jumped over to that, and I saw the value of that because it's public outreach for we can invite everyone here. The problem with Slack is you have to invite them to your organization to join. I think nowadays Slack has a public option or whatever, but back then you had to fucking invite people in order to have them in. So you would have 60 plus, always hundreds of people that are just gone and offline forever because they jumped in, they saw how unorganized it was, and they left. Right. And then nowadays with it, they could join and hang out in the Discord server because there's a community here, and then join the team if they're interested or showed enough promise through the open source repos. All open source. So again, nothing was really private in terms of code or anything. It was all open source repo. If people wanted or had an idea of how to do things, they could go and pull request it in. But as I started to get an internship, through my university professor, as well as just get job experience there, and software engineering experience through classes and stuff, I started to realize that how Momentum was being run could be much better, and just started to apply that. So getting GitHub issues on board, instead of these giant ass PRs that were pulling in, hundreds of new bugs and bug fixes, bugs and features, pulling that out into individual components, making it easier, getting code review in place, making it easier to review changes, starting to formalize a lot of the development progress cycle, because that was what I was interested in. And still, there wasn't that great of PR, and we weren't really doing PR because, again, it was really just I would stream and people would watch me develop it, and I'd give out keys there. There's some probably OGs around still that have those keys from those days. So that's kind of how it went, and then it just started to snowball towards, okay, well, we brought on more surfers and bunny hoppers, and Beetle was like, hey, let me reach out to the jump community and see, hey, are they interested in Momentum supporting jump earlier? Should Momentum even consider jump? And literally a month from there, we added Rocket Jump, I think was the first. And then Sticky Jump was a couple weeks after that. And so as that started to happen, the scope expanded, and this was kind of okay, the realization that okay, this is what Momentum can be, right? This is what, right, all these modes that benefit from all of the aspects that Momentum has to offer. And I started to really take it seriously because not only was my life stabilizing in the sense that, I was graduating, but then getting into a full-time job, and then the job allowed me to work on the game like at outside of it. I didn't have any tests to study or grind for or anything like that. No more exams or anything. It's just work. And so I just started to fall into the cycle there of like taking on more of a leadership role of making sure that like developers that were churning through, I would do code review, some smaller cards and stuff, or the bigger architecture thing. So it kind of grew into what it is now, which is like the phase 3, phase 4 era of like, we're taking this very seriously. Phase 4 is like engine license and onwards now. Phase 3 was that ballooning of scope and seeing what the game could become. But yeah, that phase 1 and 2, it was very dependent on just me showing interest in it. And that's why a lot of people probably left before they should have, or I guess not should have, before I probably wanted them to. And that's, yeah, again, it's just like 2015. So it was, 19.
Yeah.
No software experience professionally, just all hobby projects. So that turned into, I have some professional experience under my belt, and I've learned a ton through this project and continually learn through the project. So I like to say momentum is much better off than where it used to be. And if, I guess, yeah, if Zofa didn't reach out, it could have died in a way that like, I don't think we would have like recovered the like current team, the current situation from. It probably could have been something that I poked future down the line, but I don't think if it wasn't recovered with the team meetings, I don't know how far along it'd be nowadays. So definitely big ups to Zofa for that. And Zofa was online earlier, but I had to do some in real life stuff, so that's why Zofa's not here right now. But yeah, so yeah, it wasn't great.
Our uni stuff was like basically in sync. I think I was in
Yeah.
uni for 4 years, so maybe I was.
Yeah, it was only for 3.
Yeah,
I got the fuck out of there a semester early.
Yeah.
Speed ran that shit. I recommend it. Just kidding, I don't. It's terrible. 20 credit hour semesters are not no
it
fun.
definitely. The talking about the sort of phases like that, I think it definitely does feel that like as we've, the game stuff going closed source, but it's like, but like then spending like a lot of time on like refactoring, like actually getting the code base in like a much more clean, like usable format in the long term, like
Yeah.
stuff like say like Rio's movement refactor, stuff like that, like looking back, like the way like we used to handle game movement in C++ was just ludicrous. Like it's just
Right.
such a mess, and like
Yeah.
just
Much cleaner now.
and
Yeah.
like one thing right now is like the web rewrite is just like, given the scope of the project as it is now, like we could not be sticking with like that express setup. Like it would just
Right.
make, adding all these new features just such a pain. And
It worked it worked really well for the college
great
class.
for getting yeah for sure.
Yeah. But that was it. And then anything past that, it's like, this is terrible.
And so stuff now, where we write tests much more vigorously, and like we just have like I don't know,
And have
more
types,
of a
DTOs.
review. But yeah. But I think sort of throughout sort of parts of the code base and stuff, like our review is like way more vigorous, and
Yeah.
like everything just feels sort of more serious, and like we kind of know what we're doing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but
I mean, nobody really does. And that's the beauty of it, is like I started this whole project not knowing C++ that
sure.
extensively,
Literally,
not
I
knowing
think
how to
that's
lead a
just
team, not
this. Like,
so yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
learning experience, and it's like it's everybody just really passionate, not again to serve me or anything, it's towards what momentum is aiming to be. Like we all have a vision of what momentum is, and it's very shared, but some people might have different ideas of what it could be, and like it's just a matter of making sure that everyone's on the same page about what at its core what momentum will be. And so that's just how the team kind of formed and has grown. And yeah, again, every week I'm just amazed by the work that goes into momentum and just the passion that's behind a lot of people in it. Because again, that wasn't really there for the early days. It was mainly me and a couple like Tuxie, Rusty, and Rabs, just kind of coding just random stuff. Like we had no idea what we were doing. There was no planned ideas. It was just kind of like, oh, we need a leaderboard. All right, just like here's one in VGUI. whatever.
But it feels like now when new people get involved, it just feels fantastic as well. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't know if you feel like this as the sort of the originator of it, but I find like whenever I start working with new people, especially people like say Peenscreeker who came over from Defrag, but like him getting really keen on the project from sort of seeing how we did, like
Yeah.
me feeling like I'm sort of representing the project well, and that like sort of conveying like our goals and motivations well, and then that.
And
other
then
people
seeing them,
vibing with
yeah,
that and then contributing, it's just the most amazing thing. Like it's so
right.
nice.
And it's
I
going
love,
towards something we can all enjoy
yeah,
too. It's
yeah,
not like, oh, you're doing
sure,
free work for me. It's like, no, I want to play
yeah,
this game. Like I'm
right.
not benefiting financially or whatever from this. Like we're all working towards this,
Mm, mm.
towards this game. So
When are we going to rewrite in Rust?
in a week, I think. After
Both really do. Me and God both really want to do some Rust stuff.
I actually genuinely want to learn Rust,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
actually I want to learn Carbon. It's the C++ killer.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That'll happen.
We'll see.
It's cool.
Google's got to figure out Stadia before they figure out Carbon. So
Yeah.
Google's,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, C++ has its problems, but it's not going anywhere anytime soon. it's too strong.
You know, if we had unlimited resources, we'd maybe seriously consider doing the website or web backend in Rust using like Rocket or whatever. But we don't.
We might do some layers of like the validation in Rust. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But again, not the main website, the open source API has to be approachable too by literally anyone. So So
if you want to
going npm, going TypeScript kind of helps with that. So
it's a approachable ecosystem. Yeah, if you do want to approach web stuff, approach me.
Yes,
I'll get you hooked up.
Tom will hook you up. Yes, and we appreciate, again, goes without saying, we appreciate any bit of effort that goes towards the project, even if it's not that much, even if you can do a couple cards and dip, right? Unfortunately, that is the nature of open source. Sometimes people dip in the middle of their PRs being open, which is not fun. But it's great to see help in any regard, any capacity, right? So cool. Thank you, FadedFrank, for this question. Hopefully that answers it. It was chaotic, mainly. TLDW, it was chaotic, right? So it's much more structured, and I'm very happy with the team's direction now. So cool. Moving on to the next.
Resistance is futile. Yeah. Asks, as well as reaching out to streamers/influencers, has the possibility of cross promotion with other games been discussed?
Loosely. So I know the lead dev of Rolled Out, Twilight.
Oh yeah.
That would be a great crossover. I think our games' release schedules are probably projecting towards the same point in time, so it would actually be really cool to have Rolled Out Cosmetics and then maybe have Momentum Man and Rolled Out Ball. Anyway, it would be really cool to kind of have cross promotion with other kind of smaller games. I don't think we're going to be able to pull off a bigger game crossover. I think maybe in the sense of like a cross community promotion of things like Trackmania could be possible, creating like a Trackmania map and then creating that Trackmania map in Momentum, right, in Source or something. That'd be cool. But yeah, we're definitely open to the possibility of kind of the cross promotion. A lot of the crossover is going to be in cosmetics. It kind of has to be. Like, we don't really have game modes that are like, oh, like Counter-Strike. I mean, it'd be cool, actually. We'll see. Like, if the stickers or whatever in Counter-Strike eventually have a momentum. Because there is a Surf's Up sticker or whatever, right? There's a Skill Surf sticker now in CSGO. So they could keep going down that route and start to put the momentum logo somewhere in there. We'll see. I don't know. But for the most part, a lot of the cross promotion is probably going to be more on the indie side of things, where possible, where it makes sense. So Rolled Out absolutely would be really cool to cross promote. I mean, yeah.
Shrine 2?
Shrine 2, yep. Shrine 3, maybe? No.
No, that's what.
Anyway, but yeah, it just depends. We'll definitely be open to it. So, yeah. Yeah, and then reaching out to streamers slash influencers is going to be an interesting journey of like even just whispering the game right towards them,
Yep.
like having that kind of like the idea of the game in their head, as opposed to like,
Right.
hey, we're gonna pay you $5,000 or whatever to play it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that kind of approach is like a little too direct of the
And
cross promotion, but
we can't.
having it more be more organic, even
Yeah,
if
a lot
it's
of people,
just
like
yeah.
that. I think are just bound to be like loads of CS streamers and shit. Like my main
Yeah.
actually gonna be very
We can bank on it, and there's a lot of people waiting for the game too, so it's like
right.
just a matter of timing. So yeah,
I think Momentum has so much appeal to pro players, and people that grind certain games a lot. They're just like hardcore gamers. Like we
Yeah.
are a game for hardcore gamers.
we'll reach out to the NASCAR.
Yeah, that'll yeah. I mean, we're all big NASCAR fans.
Yes, every single one of us love
Yeah,
NASCAR.
I mean, it's a requirement to join, so and it takes up about half of the weekly meeting. So
it's very heated. Anyway, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. Genuinely, we're gonna lean more towards the indie, but I mean, we're not opposed to the bigger game cross promotions because that would be cool. Like a little shout out in CS:GO if possible would be neat, but again, it's probably not likely. But we'll see. So, thank you, Resistance. Yeah, yeah, true. Work at Valve to put Momentum in CS:GO stickers. Yeah. Anyway, there we go. Let's jump back to that. I really look forward to just cross-promoting Momentum mod through Valve property. Anyway, no. Thank you, Resistance, for this question. We'll move on to the next.
Murgle asks, how will rules and punishments work? Will everything be clearly outlined, or will things be handled more arbitrarily and case by case?
Both. So there will be clear outlines. There will be clear community and run submission guidelines, right? That we'll have around like, hey, you shouldn't smurf. Hey, you shouldn't, create a bunch of alts. Ideally, right, you're only playing on one account. We won't really. I think the approach that we talked about in a previous Q&A is that we will try to dissuade other accounts. I mean, right, that could be where the case-by-case basis comes into play, but it depends on what's happening. So, right, if people want to reset or flush or whatever, we can try to add an official way to do so, resetting like, all of your times or whatever, or your completion percentage if you want to try to do a 0 to 100% again or something. So there will be official avenues for that kind of case. But when it comes to community guideline, right, breakage, people are going to test the community guidelines a lot, right? That's why they're guidelines, and they're going to be pretty loosely. I mean, yeah. What's that?
Something I'm really passionate about is just like setting standards that, like, if you're like completely lax when it comes to guidelines like that, people are just gonna like stuff devolves into like assess a bit way faster, right?
Yes.
Like, you do need to like let people know that there are going to be some consequences for stuff. A lot of those consequences aren't necessarily permanent, right? I was actually chatting a bit when you were dead.
Oh right, yeah.
We I was just saying a little bit about like chat moderation and stuff, and how like if you're doing spamming the N-word in like some big public lobby or whatever a bunch, then you'll get auto-muted for a while, stuff like that. It's not a permanent thing, but it's like it will happen for a bit if you do that, and then if you keep doing that, it's going to happen more and more, and that is about setting a precedent so people know that if you do this, we're going to take an action. It's not necessarily going to be permanent, but it should be enough to like dissuade you and make you realize that this isn't acceptable, and ideally that makes people stop. If it doesn't, then maybe they just get permanently muted, whatever, I don't know, but like
and we'll be doing a lot of protections around kind of stuff like that, with like using Steam's like filtering and stuff, like for people that aren't friends and stuff like that, where it's like you'll be more protected via that or by like against that. So
I think in those cases, like, it's more about people that are just coming, like, deliberately doing stuff just to, like,
test it,
troll, right?
Yeah. And so those will be handled case by case too, because there's also heated gamer moments. So like obviously, right, like we don't want to permaban somebody for a single mistake, but it depends on the severity of the mistake and the intent behind it. those will be case by
Well,
case, right?
That's the thing, right? Is that because we do have quite a decent amount of ability to do moderation because we're a smaller game, and we have people that can do that, right? It's a more
Right.
community-based game as opposed to like some game with like 1 million concurrent players or whatever, where that stuff essentially has to be automated, right?
Right.
We can tell intent. Like that's pretty obvious, right? Like as opposed to some algorithm that's trying to determine stuff. If you're just being offensive just to like get as many people's attention as you can and just to piss people off, we can tell that. Like it's obvious, and then we can take action based on that. As opposed to if you're just angry and like swearing or whatever, that could be a less severe punishment, right? But
when it comes to banning too, I think this is also talked about in a previous Q&A. We can separate the punishments. So if you're cheating, right, the leaderboard times, we can just ban you from submitting times, but you can still play the game, and like chat if you want to. But like that's the thing is like we can separate out the bans. If you're trying to change your name or avatar to something unsavory, we can ban those.
Well, we already do that, right? But then
yeah.
again, if someone's changing their avatar to something offensive, we probably want to ban them. For some reason, we currently have this like these fields in the DB in the API for like banned bio and banned avatar or whatever. I don't really see how that makes sense because if someone's giving themselves a banned avatar, they're probably going to do something shit with their bio as well. Like, it's not really a important distinction there,
Right. There will be a lot of overlap when bans get kind of thrown down, but yeah, I mean it's definitely it's going to be a gargantuan task to moderate a lot of things, especially as a free-to-play service. So putting a lot of things behind kind of safeguards, as well as just the only time you might see problematic things would be in your inner circle, or you explicitly ask to see it, where it's like with voice chat, we're going to support voice chat, right, in lobbies and stuff in the future, but you have to opt in to public ones. You're not going to just join and just start hearing every slur known to humankind. Like it's a matter of like in private or friends only, it's automatically opted in, right? Like we could do that, but when you're joining a public one, right, like we want to protect you a bit from that. We're going to be using Steam's like filtering thing that you can toggle through Steam settings if you want to have it on or off. That kind of stuff where we're kind of like we're setting up the safeguards, and you can tear them down, you can opt in, you can automatically join, automatically see everything, but we're assuming that you'd be okay with potentially seeing that at that point, and at that point we're also hoping that you're still diligent enough to be like, okay, this person's an asshole, like report, right? So yeah, well, hopefully we'll see how the toxicity goes. But the other thing to keep in mind is that multiplayer, like the online social aspect, is optional. You don't have to. If you just want to grind some maps, you don't have to be in lobbies, right? You can join or leave at any time.
I think the main thing, right, should be like we want to make it so people can play in public lobbies without just like unpleasant shit. Like we could quite easily end up with the game just being just completely full of just awful shit, and like public lobbies just being, because like it only really takes one person joining like 100-player lobby, which can exist, right? Spamming a bunch of offensive shit to like really annoy you, right? And that can just be one person, and that person's got on the nerves of like 100 people.
And then you imagine the scale of the TF2 bot, right? If we get that kind of scale of attack, right, where it's like every public lobby ever hosted is automatically flooded by these kinds of things. So again, putting those things in place to where it's like, we can have our systems like also ban people. So when somebody connects, you can query our server to be like, hey, should I allow this person to talk to me? So like we can have these kinds of things on our side, but like ideally, right, we have a lot of things on your side too to prevent you from just getting attacked straight up from this kind of abuse. And I mean, there's only so much we can do, right? If we can try to limit, like with the lobby system, we can't really limit things. You're going to have to put things in private or friends only if you want that, right? We can't like. Wow, you just got joined by 30 people, automatically converting you over to a private lobby or something like we're not going to really know the intent behind things like that. So you're going to have to make sure that that we're educating you about the systems that we have in place, and then making sure that you're comfortable with the settings that are there.
Well, keep in mind with like botting and stuff like that is we can always make it so. I think we can do this with Steam lobbies, maybe not. We can always have the client decide if someone's muted or not ourselves.
Yes.
with Steam, with like TF2 bots or whatever, those are just free to play accounts, right? Like
Right.
you can just have a setting that requires a like if you don't want to see stuff from non-premium accounts, like in chat or whatever, that would be really easy for us to implement. And so
Yes.
that's a really good way of filtering out like those massive loads of just random toxic people.
Exactly.
For me, like I think maybe a lot of people disagree with this. I personally really like the system in CS:GO of auto muting. And I'd like to do something similar to that in Momentum, which is just if you get a certain proportion of reports for like abusive chat or whatever, you're just auto muted. And if I'm playing CS:GO, what I typically do is I typically don't unmute those people. It kind of depends on my mood, but I like having that decision, right? Of do I want to listen to this potentially really toxic person or not?
Right.
And like that's something I really like because you're still giving the person essentially on the receiving end like the decision over if they want to
override
interact with you or not.
Yeah.
We can even give someone like just an overall setting to like, oh, do you want to like see auto muted players? Should players be auto muted by default or whatever, something like that we could potentially do. But it should be like if you don't want to see that stuff, if you don't want to have to interact with like people that are toxic, obviously you get worries like streamers getting mass reported for stuff like that. That's happened in other games before, but
right.
Ideally you want to have a situation where if you don't want to have to interact with some toxic 14-year-olds, like, which is what I personally don't want when I'm playing any online game, you don't have to. And if you do, then so I think it's a matter of giving the player a lot of autonomy to decide what of that stuff they do want to interact with or not, but using the services and like tools we have, such as our report system, to make it so if you don't want to see that stuff, you have to do very little to avoid it. That's my attitude to it.
Well said. I don't have anything else to add. I think we've pretty much nailed this. So
no, I think that's good.
Yeah.
We'll
hopefully
once our rewrite's done, we're actually going to be thinking about the report system quite a lot. We're going to have a big meeting relatively soon to discuss a lot of aspects of the rewrite. And one thing that's going to be really fun to talk about is how we want to do reporting and stuff. So that'll be fun.
Yep.
Cool. Should we move on?
Yeah. So that's hopefully that answers that. Thank you for this these questions, Murgle. We'll move on to the next.
But Jacko, can we get an update on the number of people who have signed up for playtest?
Fuck, I'm supposed to fetch it. It's okay. Let me get the exact numbers.
You go do that. And
let me get that really quick.
I don't know.
Okay, we are currently at 16,659 participants with access and 14,234 waiting for access.
XP.
We're over 14K. So, shit. A lot of people are signing up. We might need to bump to 100 sooner than 010. But, I mean, hey, that's just more motivation to go to 010 sooner. But that is a lot. It's amazing to see this kind of love from absolutely no marketing of the game, right? Like we haven't really tried to market it anywhere other than just helping out in like fan games marathon and stuff and like getting the slots there. I think that's like our most recent marketing, quote unquote marketing, but like it's incredible. And so right, like I'm really hopeful, right, that converts to people trying out and playing the game, right, for a while. I am curious, right, to know, like, how many people are staying with or keeping it installed, at least. I know it's not finished now, and I know there's bugs on Linux boot and stuff like that. There's a ton of different things, but, right, like, keeping it installed and then coming back and playing it as we update it.
To, like, keep playing it that much right now. That's why I keep going on about, like, if you're not in playtest yet, like, it's not the end of the world, right?
It isn't.
It's still just, like, it's an alpha state that, like, you can play now in 3 months. Either way, like, you're not missing out on, like, the whole experience of 1.0, which is what actually matters. And, like, there's not that much reason to keep coming back to it. We have relatively few maps. We'll have, after 010, there'll be more, and we'll have mission stuff then, and, like, stuff. I think stuff will feel a lot more worth playing then. Instead, that will be do a big drop of a ton of keys and up the numbers, if not sooner. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, so just touching on the grants again, we've reached out to Valve through Steam support directly, and they have confirmed directly to us that it is entirely random. It's their word, right? We can't prove them wrong. All we do is click a button, and like we put a number in and click a button, right? So we have no idea what the algorithm or whatever, right, it uses. So who knows? But there's no benefit to signing up like recently over compared to like just being lucky, right? It's just a matter of 50 in 14,000, right? So it's every day, right? We're dropping it every single day. But it's, from what we've heard from Valve, it's random. And that's it. The only thing we have control over is the number of people that can get in. Which specific country, for some reason, like you can specifically request like United States like playtesters is weird. Or we can release the game, and we're not at that point. Again, we want continual feedback as we're updating and potentially breaking the game. So having everybody play right now and then the majority of people leave wouldn't be that great. And it would also send the wrong signal to the population about it being done, despite it being specifically the playtest. People will get kind of finalized opinions, even though the majority of our features, right, our core features aren't done. And if people are worrying about cheated runs right now, yeah, right, like people will just be breaking that.
That's one of those things that
it'll be even less of a purpose to even play it right now if we did that. So
yeah, I think it's just sort of inevitable that like the benefits of playtest, but it does also mean that like some people that like are just going to get bad impressions because they
and I mean, there's going to be people that get bad impressions either way, and I'm not afraid of that. It's just like we would want to have it more steadily over time, as opposed to everybody all at once, every single feedback, every I know not all 14,000 people will flood in and destroy everything. It's like it's that kind of like mentality of like a floodgate kind of releasing, as opposed to like, okay, we're slow dripping it in, we're getting great feedback, getting great pain points highlighted, and it's just a matter of like continuing that, but over time, because we're going to be fixing those pain points, right? The missing textures stuff that's coming from people that haven't gotten in since we've made the color replacement default, right? So there's like that kind of stuff. There's mouse raw input too that's now default. Like there's stuff like that like a lot of people are going to be coming in and seeing and feeling from the first time, and we're getting that kind of feedback over time, and that's what we need. So that's why we're dripping it. So again, it is going to be completely public. And yeah, as Tom was saying, we're wiping the leaderboards at 1.0. There is literally no goal to play momentum other than to break it and report to us. Like that's what we want right now. You can enjoy what's in there, right? Enjoy the aspect of momentum and play on custom maps and stuff, right? Like, but the leaderboards and stuff aren't anywhere close to final, right? Like there's no tangible goal of like, there's not even a cosmetic system in place yet either. So like there's a lot of systems that we're developing
on the leaderboard. You can tell how little the leaderboards matter, that we
exactly
obviously cheated around on there for over a year. So that's how little we care about the current leaderboard.
So that's just kind of like, again, we love this enthusiasm, and we're getting people in there slowly but surely, and it will release. It will release at 1.0. Everyone will be on the same level playing field. Everyone at 0, no time set, go hog wild, right? But that's at 1.0. So just gotta be patient. If you're a mapper and you could use momentum to make your maps, or you want to make momentum specific maps, perfect. Like that's what we're looking for. That's like kind of the key override there. If you're an influencer and you kind of want to talk about momentum and continually play momentum over time, we're looking for that too. But again, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I got like 50 subs on Twitch or YouTube, and
a lot of it is some streamer that is gonna play it once, stream, and there's not
then
really
go back to
Valorant
Valorant
we want right now.
So we wouldn't want, again, the 1,000, that's even more people signing up for the playtest and like getting impatient about it too. So it's a trade-off there. But again, that kind of like wide promotion we're going to do closer to 1.0 anyway. So okay, I think that answers that question. Thank you, B Jacko, for asking.
It wasn't even about that question.
No, it wasn't. I think that discussion definitely went over bounds there. So anyway,
NotEagle asked, will there be movement text / modes from non-source engine games? Can I answer this one? Just
sure.
I know the answer to this. So we already have some. Conc is non-source engine. Typically, we're going to do stuff that is source engine adjacent, right? So, I mean, I said so. So conc is gold source. Defrag is even
gold source.
further away from source. Yeah, it's essentially the grandfather, right? If the gold source is like the father of source. I don't know why it's gendered that way, but anyway. Then yeah, idtech and fucking Quake Free engine idtech is sort of the grandfather engine. So that it's similar, and what's interesting is loads of the code is essentially the same, right? There's loads of like family resemblance there. So we also have parkour that we'll be doing, which is essentially source, but it's like a cousin, I guess.
Yep.
Or
it's the Titanfall 2 respawn engine, which is based on source. They did start on source,
but it's probably so far off of like the source engine that like it's not really meaningful to say that this is source.
Right.
It's obviously related, but it's still a different engine essentially. From what we know about it, which isn't very much. So we'll be doing those modes. Those are what am I saying? I'm being so unarticulate. So. And those 10 modes are essentially the 10 modes we're doing, right? At least until 1.0 afterwards, and then we don't like have any other modes like within our sights right now, right? The distant future, we'll be doing game mode mixing for 2.0 roughly, which is when you'll be able to sort of make weird combinations of these modes, and probably that will probably also involve like having we'll do a lot of extra like abstraction on the movement stuff and allow you to potentially do some quite novel things that are sort of related to existing modes but might be essentially quite different, right? But like with all of the modes we do, we want them to be at least source engine related, so they're going to be FPS based. They're going to have sort of similar feels. I don't know how to describe it, but like we're not going to do Lucio movement or whatever, even though that's essentially parkour. I'm not even explaining this very well. Maybe you should do it. But but also we want stuff that either has like existing server communities or existing speedrun communities. So Titanfall 2 has a great speedrun scene. It's a really good speed game. Gocna's run it, right? Half-Life 2, obviously, Defrag has like a massive community. So if we were to do other completely new modes in the distant future, they'd probably have some similar adjacency to the source. Like obviously there's existing stuff in TF2, but like we're not gonna do fucking sentry jumping, right? GDA 5 will be doing chop is the movement of
chop, the dog
from GDA 5.
Every good game has a dog in it, so we're following that trend, adding chop. Exactly. So we have A hop, B hop, and chop.
Yep. So I don't know, like if we were to do other modes, like I don't really know what they'd be. They'd probably be something like further away from source, but still source-like. I don't know.
It all kind of ties back in, right? Like a lot of these movement mode games, like there's oh man, I forget the name of it, but there's like a grappling hook game that's like specifically more for grappling hook, and it's like, well, grappling hook could be a mechanic of every mode, like so it could be a tag. But
like if you play something like A hop and see how complex and like high skill the ceiling for A hop is, right? Which is fucking random, just glitch based movement,
right?
Like it should make you think, well, like surely it's pretty easy to make a good game mode, or like surely like weird combination stuff that can make good modes. For me, I think game mode mixing is actually probably likely to have some of the most interesting stuff than doing something completely new.
D hop,
because clearly like weird variations of this stuff can be really, really fun. And so I think actually where we're likely to see like a lot of the most sort of innovative stuff in the future will be through mixing existing modes, and it will be doing like entirely new stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Og?
No, yeah, that's what I'm banking on. That's why 2.0 is that. It's kind of like the modes that we could add are probably going to be offshoots of the existing ones, modifiers to the weapons, modifiers to the player, modifiers to environment that you could get over time or something. So it's a matter of like getting core movement modes in place, and that's why we don't want too many distinct overlapping modes. For example, like Beggar's Bazooka being its own standalone mode versus like a sub mode of rocket jump, because it's a modified rocket jump. It's still very similar. That kind of like aspect, we can add these other mechanics under existing modes or as a mechanic in every mode or something, right? But I mean, just for our sanity and the scope of the game, it doesn't make sense to add vehicles, right? It's a first-person platforming game, so most likely it has to be first-person, and there's only so much you can do in first-person platforming, right? That isn't already covered by the 10 modes that we'd be adding for around 1.0. So, so definitely nailed it there. And Chop. I mean, Chop's the exception.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So, hopefully that answers that, NotEagle. Thank you for the question. Let's move on to the next.
Art asks, can we see the Momentum Mod Team Pope tier list?
Only because you asked so nicely.
Wait. We
don't. No. Okay. All right.
Okay. I'm just gonna do a quick introduction.
Okay.
By saying,
all right.
Yeah. I think everyone here probably like knows that like us as a team, like if one word really comes to mind when you think of like the Momentum Mod Team and community, I think unambiguously that word is
Christianity, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, at one point we got bored. None of us were like drunk or anything. I think it was just the discussion. I got everyone's Discord avatars and like put them on tier maker and ranked us on order of best Pope. So yeah, if you wanna.
Okay, sorry, I jumped the gun there. So here's the Pope tier maker. So you want to explain, I guess?
Yeah. I feel like Happy would be a shite Pope.
Oh my God. Yeah, so it ranges in terms of morals.
Yeah, for sure. But then I guess just around the top, we've got people like Lumia, very into Linux and stuff like that, quite religious.
Yeah.
Hex. I don't know why I put Hex there. Gok is disciplined. Like he's a good like leader, I guess, and that's Popes do that, right? And then I don't know, BLT for some fucking reason. Mac, might be a good Pope. And then Kevin does like choir stuff, so super high. And then obviously you can't think about like Pope like qualities without essentially just thinking about Orcs. I mean, what a guy, what a Pope. So yeah.
You don't need any more explanation. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Who's the
perfect Pope?
Who's the SpongeBob avatar? I don't remember that one.
SpongeBob?
In D tier.
D tier. I think that's Burrito.
Oh yeah, that's Burrito.
Yeah,
it's Doodlebob, I think.
Yeah. What a guy.
But yeah, so there you go.
The best thing about this was I put it in like a team channel, and a bunch of us were talking about it, but then Orcs didn't see this. And then like a week or so later, me and Orcs were just chatting in voice or something, and I brought it up thinking that he had no fucking idea what I was talking about. He had no idea. And then I showed it to him, and this really got to him. Orcs found this really funny. I was really happy about that. But
the Ralsei avatar is mine from a few months ago, but I changed my profile picture every like 2 days.
Yeah.
Some of the people on this list also aren't on the team anymore. So
yeah, I mean,
very outdated.
It's pretty outdated. So, but it doesn't affect too much of the tier list, I think. So there you go. There you have it. The Pope tier. Pope tier list. So hopefully that helps enlighten everyone to the Pope tier list. So there you go. Thank you, Art. We'll move on to the next one here.
Yeah, resistance is futile. Oh, we got another stupid one. Great. What kind of safety equipment will Momentum mod players be given? Long fall boots are a given, but will conc players need long fall helmets as well?
I think the most important would be wrist braces.
Yes.
Yes.
B hoppers will get wrist braces. A hoppers will get just the full inflatable like sumo suit thing, so that you just you can slam into walls at max speed. I guess rocket. The jumpers need they need explosion resistance, so they're gonna be wearing bomb squad gear, the giant like green like bomb squad suit.
Yeah.
Like that. Honestly, a safety first, like we joke about this, but a safety first like cosmetic pack would actually be pretty lit. Like it'd actually be pretty cool. Like braces could actually be merch, yeah. It could actually be sensible merch.
The momentum player model actually does look a bit like those like car crash test dummies.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be quite a good skin.
And so, you just get these little outfits that you could put for each like game mode, or in any game mode technically. But yeah, so just kind of topical safety equipment, and then making that into a safety first cosmetic pack that you can buy in the store.
And on a more serious note, keep in mind that a lot of our cosmetic stuff is going to be, community driven. So if people are getting ideas here and want to do some modeling,
absolutely. Yeah, and we want to have it be as community oriented as possible, because again, it's by the community for the community. We don't want to think that we know best of what the community would want. We'll have plenty of stuff. Don't get me wrong. We'll have plenty of ideas ourselves, but like we really want to see the community's input for cosmetics and just different stuff. So cool. Hopefully that answers that resistance. Let's move on to the next question. Oh no.
That's another stupid one. Cheers, CaWU. CaWU asks, Gocnak, would you mind saying the woo?
Ooh, fuck. Voice crack. Let me try that again. Ooh. There you go. That's the only one you're getting. Voice crack for the first one, so you got 2 out of that.
I like that.
I expect 2 Twitch Primes. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, thank you, CaWU, for that first question. The next question is also by CaWU.
Oh, this is a good one. Yeah.
Yes.
CaWU again. Each 10 member is a team. Well, we've not got everyone here, but
unfortunately.
What's the feature you're most looking forward to for 1.0?
I'll let you guys go first.
Or 1.0. XP, I have not thought of one.
I didn't even think I was going to be here because it's not supposed to be this late, so I didn't have an answer prepared.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I just want to play the game.
Yeah,
I think being able to just like share your maps and get them tested publicly would be a really good feature that I would enjoy. Just having the testing period where people are
wait to work
just ripping your map apart before it's like permanently there.
And we host it for you, right? We're gonna host it.
Because like kind of the experience I have on KSF is that after your map gets added, that's when everyone flocks to come tell you what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
And then you can't do anything about it. So having a testing period is going to be really nice.
Yeah, man.
That's something where I keep going on about the fucking rewrite, but once that's done, that's going to be one of the really big things we work on, aiming to get that in for 010. And I think that's going to really help just in the general just flow of mapping, and I think we'll get way more contributing for even if like you're still like making a map that like you care most about like it getting played on KSF or whatever. I mean, Momentum's still going to be a really good platform for getting some testing and stuff, and like just distributing it to people, and so
yeah. Again, making mappers more comfortable is our goal, right? And some of that is feedback. You have no idea how good your map is until it releases on Tempest or these,
better quality maps as well, right? Like, having that.
Yeah. Just getting people's opinions before they actually go hard on it and set times. And I mean, ideally, right, we're going to try to promote people going hard and setting times on the work in progress version of the map so that you can see kind of route flow and stuff. So, that could lead to even just seeing top 10, seeing if like how top 10's going for that like work in progress map, if that's how you want your map to be like kind of played, right? Like you can see that, you can see what changes you can make to see like, oh, are they like, not flowing well or whatever. I'm not Maverick, no. But
so I mean, that's right, isn't it? Like,
what about?
I guess I can sort of follow on from that and like having not even that related. I was going to say, for me, 1.0 is just about having permanent leaderboards. Like, right now, leaderboard times do not matter. But, like, when we actually have all our infrastructure sorted, plus we have anti-cheat, so we know that we're getting legit runs on leaderboard, well, in theory, that's going to be the fucking best thing. Like, actually having, like, a free-to-play game that is, like, easy to install and play and lets you just play offline and submit runs to a consistent leaderboard, like, that's just going to be great. So that, I guess, and then all the stuff that comes with having a leaderboard like that where the stats and stuff matter. Like, stats are going to be massively improved by 1.0. That's something I'm super passionate about working on. And I just think, yeah, once we reach that point of the permanent leaderboards and we have infrastructure that, scales and stuff, it's going to be great. That's just going to be so exciting, and I cannot wait to see, new players come over to the game for the first time and like see, like, oh, I just boot up this single player game and it's got all these replays that take me like 2 seconds to download and try. Like, just basically the whole premise of the game, like what Momentum is, but that actually released. It's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, my main feature that I'm excited for is the game.
It's the game.
All of them.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, so much of these, like, a lot of these features we work on aren't just, like, novel little things, but they're, I think the next question is kind of on the opposite of this, we'll get to, but with this, like, the features you care about, the stuff that all hang together and make the game what it is, right? It's having leaderboards, it's having anti-cheat that means that the leaderboards are valid, it's having all the stats that make you care more about your times and make it easier to compare against other people, it's having the replay system, it's all of that combined together, so...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can't really beat the game releasing. Just kidding. I'm looking forward to cursor or the crosshair options. That's the ability to have a custom, which you already know.
Imagine if we had cursor options that you could like make your mouse into a Momentum logo.
There you go. The software cursors.
One of the worst things in game is when they have like
the software cursor.
Dota 2 has that. It's like,
how
do you do this? Just use the normal cursor.
There's a cursor, and then like they don't have it fast enough, so it like lags behind. I have that in GTA 5.
Yeah.
What is going on there? Why is it? Yeah. Map music review. That's something that will come for 010, right? Will be the all map music will be synced up to the sliders. So if you just want the music off, you can.
Yeah.
We spoke about that a bit earlier, actually.
That's all map music, like even the stuff that people didn't set up right.
Yes.
The porting will all the old stuff will be fixing it up in porting, and then it will be a requirement for submissions.
Yes.
For music, it's got to have the folder structure. Just because, even if you are a mapper, thanks for making the map, but it's not your choice whether people listen to the music or not. Like, it just shouldn't be. It's shit game design if it is. It shouldn't be up to the mapper to decide, oh yeah, you've got to listen to this like generic crappy techno track constantly as you play this map for hours. Like,
and you can't turn it off. You have to turn all of your volume down, or turn off your speakers.
It's just unacceptable. Like, and so we spoke chatted about this a bunch already, and like essentially all the tech's in place. It's just about doing the porting. So.
In seriousness though, the feature, obviously the game releasing, but I think honestly one of the features I'm really looking forward to is the cosmetic XP and leveling system and the progression of that side, because one of my goals personally is to play every map that we're going to support. I'm not gonna get world record times, probably in some AHOT maps I'll try, but like again, there's god tier gamers out there that are way more dedicated, and I have a ton of dev work to do. So honestly, the cosmetic side, being able to represent yourself with any cosmetic across your replays and stuff, that's huge. And just the side of progression that is catering more towards the people that have like 3 hours every night to actually play the game or like sit down and enjoy it. Right, so that kind of, or 3 hours it lasts, right? So like the idea there of like just an overall progress tracker and like cosmetic and keeping track of like, oh, like how much of like each game mode I've played and that kind of stuff. Because I am more of a completionist, but I do like taking time. I've done speedrunning, right? But I don't need to speedrun completion. I just like working towards an inevitable like kind of goal there, which is always shifting if you think about it, because we always add maps. But I mean, still, it'll be really cool to kind of like work towards that and just build up level and get cosmetics and stuff that we have in game officially. Because I know I'm an admin, I can give myself literally everything, but like I want to work towards it. So
yeah,
I think that'll be
set your own goals like meaningful, and then you can like strive. Like that is just the best thing in a game. Like going for like completion stuff like that.
Becoming a tier for everything, right?
Yeah.
Being able to set your own map.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I recently got completion on that like new tier 4 linear that we added to Momentum.
Yeah,
that like I never would have gotten on KSF because it's never consistently on it.
Yeah. Right, you can play whatever map whenever you want. And I guess that ties in with what I'm talking about too, because it's being able to literally go through each map in tier or length or whatever order that I would want to is huge. It's huge. Just that feature alone, just being able to play whatever map you want and have it still submit. And then not be in a lobby, so there's no RTVs, there's no time limits, except for run length limit. We have a run length limit, but yeah, but our TV's actually working for everyone in the lobby. Anyway, so oh my god, everyone just goes and joins public lobbies of the same map, battle royale mode. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of future features as well past 1.0 that I'm really excited about, namely the campaign. It's going to be amazing to have kind of just this like cohesive like track that you can go through. And then the clans feature, that kind of community building and seeing like how big clans can get and like the territory or like wars that happen between them and stuff like that, just seeing how those go. Just a lot of future stuff that I'm looking forward to.
It's gonna be so good.
Architecting and getting the system in place, and then seeing how people use it. And then just outside of the game, seeing how big the game gets, seeing how far, because it's already huge. Like 30,000 people interested enough to like wishlist and play the game is not nothing, right? There are a lot of indie games that struggle to get even into the thousands of players or wish lists or anything. So, right, like to have this kind of community before we're even out, right, is amazing. So to see how far it goes, what streamers will play it, how big it gets, could it have an esports scene in the future? Could Surf's Up, the production behind Momentum's Up or whatever, go big enough to where you have a full-fledged tournament with thousands of dollars on the line? And yeah, like that kind of scares me a bit, but like that's what I'm looking forward to as well, seeing if there's like growth there and like what it could lead to in terms of people on the team, like getting awesome game development jobs and stuff, moving their career forward with the game. So yeah, but that's kind of, I mean, sorry, there's only 3 of us here, but I'm sure, we all have different things that we're all looking forward to. So yeah, hopefully this helps answer this question. We'll move on to the next. Thank you, CaWU.
This is our last question.
Last question here. We do have a couple that we've noted down from chat, though. So we'll get to those too.
Well, it's the smallest quality of life change to see. It's like the opposite of the last one. Feature you think had the biggest impact?
I'm going to say save locks. Just being able to fucking grind something is huge. You don't have to restart the map. You don't have to restart, like, just being able... But again, that's not our feature, so I don't know if this question was specifically something that we've added. If it's a feature in general, I think save locks, in terms of being able to grind out times or routes or, just being able to see that kind of, like, progress that you can make and, like, you know, like that's just the first step towards a task kind of tool setup, right? Of like optimizing your route that you can take on a map. I think that's huge. Just and it's so simple because it's literally just saving where you are and your speed and your angles and stuff, and maybe some other miscellaneous data. And we can start to add more and more data around that with like the weapon that you have, the rockets that you've shot, or whatever, right? Like we start to add on to it, and it turns into a full blown practice tool. I guess it's not the smallest, right? And when it starts to balloon like that, but like it's really really paramount to grinding better times. Because again, anyone can complete a map, but grinding a map is going to take so long, and like being able to just further that or like I guess speed up that grind right a bit by save locking, seeing which routes are better, right? That's huge. When it comes to like features that we've added, I think that portals are gonna be really cool. We have yet to see
potential there, yeah.
And it's just one mechanic that any map can have now, so it is pretty small in the grand scheme of things, but it's gonna probably be pretty huge. We're gonna see some fucking crazy maps. I think we've already gotten some crazy maps. Like I think it's just gonna continue to deliver some really awesome experiences. So yeah. Those are my kind of two there. What are your guys's?
I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna say something we've not done yet, but I'm so confident it's gonna have a massive impact. So, game mode specific overrides.
Oh yeah, for settings, yeah.
I never shut the fuck up about game mode specific overrides, and we'll be doing it in 093, so it's actually coming really pretty soon. I've just been ranting about us needing this for ages. I think we've all sort of known we needed it, but I just never shut up about it because I think it's so important. So being able to just completely change pretty much any setting based on the mode you're in and having an intuitive UI for that, I think we've got a really clear picture in our minds of how that UI should work. I believe it's really well documented now on GitHub, I think. But I think that's just going to be it's like just quality of life. I think it's going to be like the ultimate QOL change. I think it's just going to be so useful. Maybe less so if you don't play like a bunch of modes, but like because I play pretty much every mode, pretty much the same sort of amount actually currently. I'm like
the goal of the game would be to try at least more than just one mode.
Yeah.
So it'll absolutely impact.
Obviously, you can do config files, but they're annoying to do, and that's kind of why it's just a quality of life thing. It's just being able to do this without a config file, and if we do it well, it's going to be like faster than like going into Explorer and opening up like Notepad. So yeah. We're gonna go get a portal gun. No, we got portals, but we're not Portal the game. So
exactly,
it would just be out of place, What about you, XP?
I don't know if DirectX 11 counts as a quality of life, but it definitely feels a lot more responsive than DX9.
It just runs better for me. It just
shit.
It just has a
on that. Oh yeah, sorry. Oh no. Sorry.
I was just gonna say like it's. I mean, XP is your thing. It's just so good. It's just
I didn't have much to say other than that.
Okay.
It's just so important to game engines, right? Is like how crisp it feels, how well your monitor actually displays stuff. It's so fucking key.
Yeah.
And like most games, I find really unsatisfying with like how responsive they feel and how I feel like my monitor's just doing a shitter job. Like I find it harder to like visually process what I'm looking at. Like I think the prime example for me is Overwatch. It just runs like absolute shite. And then, really good games, on the opposite end of that, stuff like Source can be really, really good. Diabolical, I think, can be really, really good. But Source on DX11 is like slightly better than Source on DX9, which is already one of the best engines in terms of just like visual clarity and responsiveness. So, yeah. Sorry, I just stole your answer, XP, and then rambled about it, but, it's a good answer.
It brought me towards the note about Rio's m_raw input 2.
That's a good
which we have yet to make the blog post for, so just stay tuned for that still. But and matte brightness was also brought up in chat. So matte brightness is the new brightness technique that we're doing now. That is window mode independent. you can now change the game's brightness to be darker or brighter in windowed, full screen windowed, whatever way you're running it. And then m_raw input 2 interpolates mouse input over game ticks. So like if your frame rate, I believe, is under the tick rate, you now actually have smooth mouse movement. Because it's, like if it's only sampling between 2 points and the game tick is in the middle, it's going to linearly, it's interpolating between. So it's not, oh, like it read it at one position, it's now interpolated to where it's going. So again, we'll have a proper blog post about that. But this means that people, even if you don't hit over 60 FPS, you can now, or over, I guess, what is it, 125 might be the highest tick, or 128. You will be able to have similar gains to as if you were playing over. Like frame rate now does not matter, and that's massive. That's huge.
Also good
like
at higher frame rates, like if you're not at some like multiple of some.
There was some kind of discussion about it. Yeah, like if you're not at a multiple of tick rate. Again, the blog post might go into detail about that. But so the main thing is just it doesn't matter what your frame rate is. You can have unlimited if you want to, but we've capped it back to 1000 just because the engine does not like going over 1000, and you don't really need to go over 1000, right? Like 400, if you get that, is more than enough. And now it doesn't matter if you dip at all. Well, I guess maybe a game stutter would probably still affect, right? Like if the entire game freezes, but hopefully we're not shit coders enough to cause that to happen. If that does happen, we're hopefully very quickly going to fix that. But yeah, it's huge. And just, the work by Slidey on map brightness to get, just basically a post-process effect of brightness to enlighten all of the maps that might have shit lighting on it is really good. Especially if you might be in, a darker or need the extra brightness on your screen. So yeah, definitely wanted to mention those as honorable, really honorable mentions there. Cool. All right. Thank you, Yi, for this question. We are going to answer some chat questions. That was the last pre-asked question. Make sure to join our Discord and ask us in the Discord before the stream. That way we can kind of prep with some charts as well as the Pope tier list if need be. So, just making sure that all of that's in place. So we'll go ahead and answer some of the questions asked in chat earlier on in the stream before it fucking died. Sorry about that again.
We're just doing those two then.
Because there's no other ones here. Okay, so
I've been keeping an eye out, but also I really need a Wii.
Yeah.
We've been going for quite a while.
Yeah, it's 2 hours and probably an hour there. So we might do a little bit of gameplay after these two questions. And then, what time is it? Okay, it is around dinner time. So probably around 10 or 15 minutes left on the stream here. Again, sorry about the interruptions. If we didn't have that, this would be a little more concise. So
101 Dominations asks, the best memories that I have of surfing are often associated with music in the background, though often through a radio hosted on the server. Is it possible that some sort of music player, server or client side, would be implemented at some point?
No. So specifically, we don't want to deal with the legalities around music. This kind of ties in with the copyrighted content. We don't want to have to deal with that. We are hoping that people are using platforms that provide the music, like Spotify, or you don't have to use Spotify, but like platforms like that, YouTube. Now, there were discussions around potentially using something like Spotify's API to show what you're listening to in game. We could look into that. That could be doable. We do want to have integrations with third-party like platforms like that where it makes sense to. Another one could
do right with Discord and I guess just Discord.
Yeah, Discord currently with Richard Presence, and then another one with Twitch with your chat. If you're streaming, we want to have the chat show up in game as well as be able to type and reply in your Twitch chat in game. That is planned there. So we will have like a tab or whatever on your chat in game. So
your music player is just like bloat, right? Like,
it's not. It's technically not part of the scope of the project because we don't want to force people to.
Even if we had unlimited time, I still argue that that's just adding bloat to your software that you just shouldn't. you
I'm
know?
just
There are
surprised
other
that
platforms that do it better.
There's like
Mm.
people that actually use the like Half-Life radio thing.
I mean, I guess it was fun for its time. Like,
I remember
like
Yeah.
2 decades old, right? That setup, and like
the plugin used to always just like post in chat like currently playing this song by Auto DJ,
yeah,
and it was just like never under control by an actual human. It was just playing a
Yeah.
random song.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a charm to it, right? But it's just not, you know.
I think the most we could do is like curate specific game mode song playlists and just offer that on your platform of choice. But so hopefully that answers that. Thank you, 101 dominations for that question. We'll move on to the next one, or the last one here.
Last but not least, chances for a jump scare anti-cheat to be added to the game, i.e. you inject hacks and high-pitched screech with scary raw face on screen so you never think of hacking again. Yeah. I guess there's some like actually quite technical points we can say here, I guess, if we want to talk about cheat a little bit in the
I mean so I mean it's definitely along the lines, that's the right kind of thinking of, right, the deterring cheating, right, is like your best approach, right? Like you're not ever going to be able to outright prevent cheating, but deterring cheating, right?
If you cheat, we're going to treat you like the dog you are, you know.
We're actually going to lock your player in a public jail cell. People can throw rotten tomatoes at you. So yeah, the thing with that, right, is like I don't want it to accidentally trigger for people, cause like seizures for people. Seizure inducing stuff is not like as funny as it would be. You can't really cause that, because that would show your intent to harm people using your software, and that would be bad. So so probably not exactly a jump scare thing, but it is along the right lines of thinking in terms of an anti-cheat, right? If it affects only you, right, is that something that we could take advantage of, right? If people are only cheating to be on a leaderboard, could we let them be on a leaderboard, but only for them? So who knows? There's different types of things that we can look into for kind of demotivating, right? Demotivating cheaters. If it's hard to make an impact from your cheat, again, some people cheat for different reasons. Some people are going to be doing it for getting to the top of the leaderboard. Some will just be to beat a map, right? They're like, okay, fuck it. Like, I can't beat this map, but I want that 100%. Let me cheat just this map. And again, both of those instances we want to catch, right? Because we want you to do the thing that, right, like we want you to play the game. There's a sense of accomplishment there. So right, any unfair advantage at all, right, external or otherwise, right, like that's what we're going to try to prevent. So or act in favor or against, right? So
just making it as unappealing as we possibly can, you know.
Yeah.
And just letting people know that they're just fucking wasting their time with this stuff. Yeah.
And so, you know, like it's an interesting idea, but maybe, right? Maybe if we have detected a cheater, again, not outright banning is a good idea, right? Like wasting cheaters' time is the most effective form of anti-cheat. It's the most effective form. If somebody is playing the game thinking that they're doing damage, that's the best thing we could get, right?
And they're not. Yeah, exactly right.
And they're not, actually. They're just wasting their time. If that can happen, right? Perfect. Now, again, knowing that, right, like some people are just going to spam create accounts, like try to flood the leaderboards, and like, again, that's a lot of the detection and stuff in place will help prevent that. A lot of the, you know, barriers to entry around the leaderboards will also help with that. So there's definitely steps that have to be taken, and the amount of effort that goes into prepping an account to be able to cause harm is so much that then that like turns into, okay, sure, there could be a black market for these kinds of accounts, but then that's an incurred cost, and then the people have to train the accounts or whatever to get up to that. So it's like it's just adding so many like steps in front to where you, if you're like, I want to cheat in the game, you see the potential of like, okay, I could lose everything, right, that I've worked towards if it's a legitimate account, or the other route of, oh my god, I have to do so many fucking steps for every single fucking account I have to do this on, that it's, again, this isn't the only layer of anti-cheat, by the way. Again, people taking this out of context, there's tons of layers here. This is just the psychological aspect of cheating and how can you prevent cheating, like the anti-cheat philosophical kind of approach of like, can it just be not worthwhile? Can we, if a cheater gets detected for cosmetic, right? If they only like casually cheat to like 500 or 5,000th place, and they're like, ooh, okay, I just got that. Can we take away cosmetics? Can we ban them from cosmetic, or like something where it's like it hurts still, but you know, like it hurts just them, like a screamer would hurt you psychologically. You would never trust us again. No, but still, like it's in that same vein of like, can there be punishments that fit the crime that just demotivate you, and just like, could even that cosmetic locking or whatever just be for a year, so you don't gain any cosmetic XP for a year or whatever, right? Like there's like levels of that where it's like punishments that could fit the crime if it's lesser, because again, you didn't really hurt anyone by getting 5,000th place other than the people below you. But at that point, it's like, you know, it's not top 10, so it's not readily you know, abusing everyone, I guess, if people care. But there's still, yeah, I mean, there's still the matter of integrity, and we want to uphold it. So we'll be looking at every aspect of cheating, even if it's, again, not to get top 10, which are probably the most common goal in a cheater's mind there. Yeah. It also helps that the game is not very directly competitive. We will have race mode, right? But that also goes through our anti-cheat. So it's like, you're not just trusting each other to get times, right? It goes through our official like anti-cheat and stuff. So it's, you know, there's, again, just less incentive there, because again, also the reward for winning that isn't, you didn't, right? Like the player is not really going to waste time. And if we detect it, we could just give the winnings over to the, like, there's ways around, you know, like, you don't really get anything out of it if you get caught. But
yeah,
that's a big if. So be doing our best, but it's a fun subject. And again, I think after we get all the systems in place, and like many years down after 2.0, I'd love to do a talk about all of the systems and stuff that we've employed. Maybe not all of them, but like a lot of the core systems, because
a lot of it's really neat.
There's a lot of great internal work being done, especially on Rio's part. I think I talked about this before the Comcast fiasco, but Rio's been doing a ton of great work with validation that I'm really looking forward to deploying. There's a lot of great stuff really in the pipeline for validating runs, and
I just feel like with the state of like a lot of anti-cheats, like it's nice to think that like I think we're going to do anti-cheat quite well, and it's going to be doing stuff in like a creative way, as opposed to like we're going to just put something in your kernel, you know, like,
I mean, even then the kernel level is
right, and those kind of like lazy like brute force methods of anti-cheat, like it's just so
to be uninvasive for a free to play game, right? That's the biggest part, is like so making sure that we're not going down that route, but also maintaining integrity and making sure abuse can be curbed, or at least demotivated enough to where even if there's a giant wave of abuse that slips through, we can very quickly, and then, you know, the turnaround time of, okay, cleaning up all the boards for all of these accounts that, you know, are all illegitimate. Like, just like the tooling, as long as we're on top of the tooling on our side for detection as well as mitigation around events that happen that get through, I think in the end, right, that's what's important. And just really seeing why somebody wants to cheat. If you're dangling, right, that golden, you know, the treasure, right, or the carrot, I guess, whatever inspires you to go, right, if you're dangling that and people are finding just not doing the thing, but rather what's the most optimal way to just, you know, cheat my way to that carrot. If you're minimizing the need to cheat for that carrot, this is a weird analogy. Sorry, but I'm a little tired. So it's It's definitely like just minimizing the intention to cheat. Built-in task leaderboards, right? Built-in task tooling and leaderboards for the tasks. That's gonna be huge, right? Having segmented and full-on frame-by-frame or tick-by-tick tasks, that's gonna be huge, right? Like having that built into the game is a huge kick in the nuts to want to actually even do that. I mean, there's still going to be people that will want to, but having that built in and dedicated there is huge. So, we'll see. But yeah, if in the end, right, people are like, oh, it's easier to cheat on multiplayer servers or whatever, that'd be a win in our eyes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we'd love to work with multiplayer server admins and share names of people we banned with them, so that they can just auto-ban them. Because likely story of having people coming from Momentum to CSGO if they get banned or vice versa. Yeah, the collaboration there is very paramount. Just ensuring that people are, because again, integrity doesn't matter which game. These are shitty people, right? Like you don't want them in any racing any timekeeping capacity, right? So if we can share that with server owners that want that, then for sure we can do that. But yeah, I think that's it for questions then. Cool. Yeah.
I need BRB for doing this.
Okay. So let me guess we'll play a little bit of the game. Yeah, so we'll answer if you guys have any more questions, any questions that you want us to answer, please try to get them in our Discord, !Discord, to join us. It's discord.gg/momentummod, all one word, momentummod. We got that partner. We don't have to worry about level 3 boosting, even though we also have level 3 boosting, but still, yeah, partner guaranteed vanity URL. So yeah, feel free to hang out, you can ask us questions there. You don't even have to wait to the end of every month, but if you like, getting full on answers and stuff from the team, that's what this is for. We can delve into answers, see, you can probably get more into our state of mind around stuff and see a face to a name, right? Anyway, cool. Let me go ahead and get the game up. We'll get into a public lobby and just hang out for a bit. I got around like 10 minutes, so we'll play. Somebody redeem, please actually play conc. I didn't see it. I've seen a lot of please play concs.
There should be like a list of things redeemed.
Oh, is it in the chat thing? There's creator chat
in, like,
highlights.
The mod view.
Oh, mod view. Okay. Two listed. Twice, actually. Twice? That shouldn't be possible. It's only once stream. Oh, fuck. Wait, you got... Okay, so I guess we're playing 2 conc maps. It's once per stream, and then I guess Comcast wanted me to play conc twice, so I guess we're playing conc twice. Okay, cool. So let me get the playtest going, and we'll play some conc. And maybe some defrag. We also haven't played bunny hop. I would like to show off the bunny hop stuff. So let me show off the bunny hop thing for like a minute or two, so you guys can see that.
Oh my god.
Let me also capture the game and switch over to it. That's gonna be gameplay plus webcams. Oh boy. There, and Tom's AFK. So, all right. Cool. So do that. Cool. Okay. And then I have to alt tab. So if you just a note, if you ever experience any stuttering, or if the game's like locked to 60 FPS, try alt tabbing again. Sometimes it does that. We're looking into that. So no worries. But yeah. So yeah. I guess just kind of showing off a bit of the game again. Not too much to showcase in terms of progress yet. We're getting there. You can manually record a replay now, but we're going to show that more, I think, in next month's Q&A stream. So
Currently,
yeah,
we have 1,214 requests to please play conc, and nobody has marked them as complete, so it's just like,
oh no. Yeah. I don't know how to make it so that it auto completes, because it's like it's just like kind of a meme award. But the please
click on complete all.
Okay. Wait, that was please actually play, or is that just the please play?
No.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. It's like, oh fuck. A lot of people are farming. No. Source in general is, but our branch of the engine shouldn't be. It's actually a regression. You should be able to alt tab and come back in and have full frames. It's something to do with the alt tab detection of like slowing down the game so that it doesn't use like 100% CPU when it's in background. So it's not detecting when we go back into the game. It's just it's a weird bug that requires a bit of like replication. I believe Slidey wasn't able to replicate it, so we just have to get it to that point where he's able to replicate it. But yeah, so just kind of talking a bit about lobbies. I won't go through the full spiel because we're a bit light on time here. So as you saw, there was a public list of lobbies. If you host a public lobby, it shows up here, but you can also create a lobby, and if you do, it can be friends only or invite only. You can change the max number. It's up to 250 for some reason. And yeah, so 250 people can join you in, you can notice here that you don't actually have to be in a map or even in the same map to be in the same lobby. So it's a networking layer above the game that you can create. So this allows for cross-map chat, cross-map voice chat, and when you're in the same map, it then networks where everybody is. So you still have you have like kind of the best of both worlds here of like, you can still enjoy the kind of like live, quote unquote, live spectating. The nice thing about it though, is that we're not synchronizing the game state with each other. There's no like synchronized multiplayer. It's only networking stuff as you get it in the same map. So it's zero ping because there's no ping to worry about in terms of playing the game. Right? Like in multiplayer or by yourself. It's all local server, and it's just, yeah, it's all. And what's really fun and what we're really going to be looking forward to is, yeah, the hundreds of people in lobbies. This is something that we're going to stress test Cluster 1.0. Hundreds of people in the same map, and seeing like a live race. We're going to have race mode. We've started to architect kind of the system there and the acceptance criteria and stuff around that. So we're be on the lookout for that. That'll be really fun. You can just in a lobby propose a race and then, set it to open, set it to invite only, so you can only invite specific people to it. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. The game, again, there's a lot of features. There's a lot of stuff coming. But yeah, you can see chat here. We don't have chat effects or anything yet. We're thinking about having that be maybe a cosmetic. We also don't have player cards like you see in the top right. We want to have it so that when you hover over people in the lobby, you can see that player card. Because this background here, this calling card is customizable. You can set it as a cosmetic. Because again, when you go through the leaderboards for maps and stuff, you'll also see players, right? So that'll show up there. Yeah, so we don't have it yet. You can't join people, but you can see their profiles as well as mute them if they're being, a spammy little nuisance. And then, yeah, you can invite people if you're in a lobby. You can leave the lobby if you don't like the people in it anymore. Now, this was a manual lobby. This is a manually created lobby. If everybody were to leave, it does close. So what we're also going to have is the other layer of this is if you're not in a lobby and you're opted into this, we're going to have this concept of public roaming lobbies, which are kind of the public game servers that you're used to joining for a specific map. It's just a lobby just for that map. So if you change maps or disconnect or anything, yeah, you leave that lobby. It's not meant to be a persistent thing. It's just kind of this like roaming lobby. As people are on maps, you could join them, communicate with people that are also playing the same map as you. If you want to, you can opt out of it at any time. And then the third portion of multiplayer is dedicated lobbies, dedicated host lobbies. So those, you just throw it on a box and it'll constantly be there. You can set the privacy settings. You'll probably actually have more control over who's in the lobby as well, right? Like you can have more control over like who can join and stuff like that. Because right now, if you block somebody, they can still join your lobby. But we make it so that they don't show up, right? So they're kind of invisible to you. Yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and play some conc. I know we always play conc, but you know, it's a good time. So yeah, this is the map selector. So you can see here, these are all the filters. You can actually hide them if you don't really want to see all of them. But yeah, if I want to search only by conc, I can right click conc, or you can manually left click everything. We'll probably change this behavior in the future. But yeah, so you can filter this now. So if I only want to see tiers 1 through 3 conc maps, I can drag that right nipple all the way over. And yeah, and then I can also filter by completed maps or not completed maps, or both. By default, it's both. Favorited, unfavorited, and both. And then yeah, same with downloaded. You can also filter by tier, alphabetically, date released, date created. So again, date released is when it's pushed onto the, so like a recently pushed to momentum map versus an old, like if we added like I think Omnific, right? That's like 2012, right? So that's date created is 2012.
I feel like that could be clear.
That could be clear.
The release.
For sure. But the idea right behind that is just like the date released is just when it was pushed to momentum. So date made public or whatever, right? I don't know how the best word to use for
we'll
that.
have to figure something out. I don't know.
But yeah, let's go ahead. Is concept actually tier 2? I forget. Let's try it out.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm a tier 3 conqueror. I can do it. So yeah, so the map selector, you can download maps from in-game. I guess I kind of already have a lot of these maps, so let me try Rex. So yeah, one click download, and now I can play it. I can go and play Rex. You can favorite maps if you really like maps. That's just the only metric there. We will have feedback though in the future. So yeah, so it's pretty fun. Conc is a good time. So Conc is a Team Fortress Classic game mode. The idea behind it is that you throw a conc with a set fuse time of, I think, 3.2?
12.
Oh, 3.8. 3.8 seconds. And the idea around that is that the closer you are to the grenade, the less it boosts you. So you actually want to be further away. So right here, you can see I got a little hop, but if I were to put this here and kind of stand a little further away, I can get a bigger or further boost depending on where I'm actually like landing on it. Oh yeah, I did want to show some b-hop stuff. So actually, let me do that really quick. Yeah.
Actually, but yeah, we should do it.
Yeah, no, let me show off some of that too. Let me go to a classic. I mean, Everfast is kind of a classic, so I'm just gonna go. And then that's the other thing too. So those people were enjoying, you know, conc that conc map, but I can just go and play bunny hop. And then, hey, I'm in bunny hop now. Like, that's just how it works. And my synchronizer is not showing up. Hold on. I turned it off. Which one is the default? Do you remember? Is it
throttle?
Half width. Okay. So yeah, you can talk about this while I play the map actually, if you want to.
Yeah, it's when you strafe, sometimes you strafe gooder than other times. So this tells you how good the strafe is.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mode doesn't have like the color version mode.
Oh wait, that might be another setting. Let me check.
Yeah, it is.
Color by speed gain. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
And yeah, that looks reasonable.
So your goal is to make the bar in the center, right? Like.
Yeah, keep it there.
Yeah.
Basically at all time.
So optimum gain would be that bar being right at that black notch in the center there. Dang it.
Shout out to.
Yeah, shout out to Mojang. Anyway, Notch used to watch me, so I can shout him out.
An asshole, so.
Yeah, before the assholes. Oh, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so
he was always a big man, baby.
yeah. So anyway, the HUD here, right? We want to be able to show pertinent information for people, live feedback, right, of their inputs and how well they're doing, right? So strafe, kind of not optimizer, but strafe trainer, right, is the idea of this kind of like HUD. And obviously I'm terrible, but yeah, you can kind of see how it's like, yeah, so you want to like, oh, like I wasn't turning enough, or if it's overshooting, I was turning too fast. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And there's different modes. Should I show off any other mode in particular?
I'd show off the other two besides full width. Because full
Okay.
width is basically the version of this, but not as cool. Oh, nice craft.
Thank you. So the strafe indicator shows, I guess,
You want to keep it centered.
Okay.
It's kind of funky. We'll probably do something more like the layout of JHUD. I don't really know what that is, but people ask for that.
Yeah.
We can do that pretty easy. It's the. This is interesting though. I mean, this is made by Peanscriger, who came from Defrag and
Yes.
did the Zike implementation, and then he went and just decided to do a bhop thing, and he did something. Yeah, I really like the half-width roll. I think it's perfect. I'm a massive fan of it. So I find it really interesting that like someone who's not a bhopper but has like UI design experience like came over and did it this way and actually came up with something that personally I really like.
Yeah.
And then some people really like this mode as well.
Yeah.
It's a weird one where you want to keep it like as
level, so it's like it moves on its own, and you want to so you see like I was losing speed and it started to speed up a ton there. Like if I just jump straight, I think there. So I'm holding right, and you can see it move. But because I'm not moving my thing, and then when I start to move with it, this mode's actually really intuitive. I like it. Yeah. It just shows you your speed gain relatively.
But then you like,
because like you'll see it, and when you jump, it's like, holy fuck, what is it doing? And then once you start to like actually strafe, so like again, this is all going to be an accompaniment. Anyway, this is going to be accompanying the the learn section. So we're gonna have like we want people to learn how to do these modes. I see in chat somebody doesn't know how ahop works, right? Like the learn section is aiming to
one thing I just wanted to say is
those fears.
One thing that's super nice with Pano is this stuff is all open source, so this is just in JavaScript.
Yes.
Panorama gives us this ability to do this like super, like, I mean, I was ranting before about how boring API programming is. For me, stuff like this is one of the most like enjoyable forms of programming there is.
Yeah.
Like just doing
very visual
UI like this. It's very visual, but like it's based on like quite interesting maths and just how to display like mathematical data in an intuitive way.
Right.
That's something I have a real passion for. And I just love what Peanspeaker did with this. It's just really neat.
Oh, damn it.
But yeah, if people want to mess with this and do like other versions and stuff, maybe even like if we like the version enough, we might add it. So
exactly. Rhodey's already done like gain, the traditional server kind of gain HUD as well.
Yeah, we're definitely keen on getting some of Rhodey's stuff in. I don't know where he's at with that, but I definitely at some point I want to just sit in voice with him and we'll chat about it and just because he's done a more standard version of I think like JHUD and SSJ. Is it SSJ or like the thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, it's like 6 speed jump.
So, but basically all the cool like server plugin stuff like we can do in Pano. And we're keen to add. But I really like that like I prefer this to like any of the JHUD stuff I've seen, like the half width throttle. For me it just feels by far the most intuitive. How is paint so loud?
Ooh, I PB'd. Let's go. All right. So and this is the run run finish screen. So this is a beautiful HUD element. Just shows you, shows exactly where you gained or lost time in terms of seconds, and just you can live split, right? As speedrunners, right? Like we're really keen on that, but we don't want to make people install live split in order to play the game. So having a similar kind of graph here.
Right now, it's just comparing against your PB. The goal, and we have a pretty clear picture of exactly how we do this. Is we're gonna do any run compared to any other run. Basically, like you can select that from the leaderboard. Like you can set like something as your comparison run, but then also do like the. So if you want to compare against world record, you can, like live split lets you, but also like compare against literally like your friend's run. I'm gonna set that as my comparison, and then. But we can also just like based on like data from 2 different replays. That's all we need to just generate a new graph, right? And do that for like, if you want to like look at like, what was the end of run page I got for a run I did months back, and like compare that against some other PB or something. Like you can do that. So
yes, we do also plan to have a raceable ghost, like race mode with a ghost, where you can race against like a preloaded like replay and visually see where you lost or gained time over them. That's the whole comparisons update that's actually going to be coming around 0.12.0 out there, because there's a lot of stats that we got to collect in replays that we want to be able to compare against. So
it's quite funny that Ghosts is like something that like baby Gocnak has already done. So
yep, little old like 16-year-old
like,
me.
Precursor to Momentum mod was Ghosting mod, which is a plugin for Half-Life 2.
Yeah,
or add-on to Half-Life 2, whatever.
Yeah.
And so doing that ghosting stuff, hooking that up to like our replay system will be super fun and quite easy, probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love the new Strafe Sync card. It just feels like I notice all these like interesting trends. Like I sometimes like strafe way harder to the left than I do to the right.
Yeah.
I'm like massively over strafing as I'm going really fast here. It's just yeah, super cool.
Wait, no, I played Fluffy last time. Let me do a different map. Yeah. So it's again, that's just an aspect of Momentum that we're able to keep open and take in contribution from, you know, outside devs for. So people that have made custom hubs that benefit from that can do so. So
yeah, it's
can share it.
Like this is like the less like engine heavy stuff as well, right? So
try drive. No, let's go back to concept. If it's actually tier 2, then I do want to.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. I've got like a 24-minute time on it, so you can.
Oh, okay.
About
yeah.
I don't know. I'm so sleepy.
Oh yeah, it is pretty late.
I can't wait to go to bed. Almost 2.
Wait, so I have to go up and over. Hold on. Do I just jump like? Is this a hand? No, this isn't a hand.
No, you want to throw the one and then.
Oh wait, yeah.
The second or so after. So.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
The second you hit after you've gone over the wall.
Yeah. Okay, I see. It's a very timing focused mode.
We really need to do the fucking like lower opacity and shit for those concs.
Precisely. Yep.
There's so many concs.
Yeah. Wait, I keep charging up the second one immediately. Hold on.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh, that's okay. It just falls through. Fuck. That was supposed to fall down. There we go.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back to end of run to do the comparison stuff. That's gonna be super fun.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, like updating all these panels, because again, it's just been our first iteration of it. Yeah. So it's really just, where am I going? What is this? Going down there? Oh, this is glass.
That we wanted to do this eventually, so I think
the glass texture is missing.
Oh, there are. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the texture is shite on here.
Oh God. Okay. Wait. So can I go through that? Oh, I can't. Okay. So wait. What? Okay. So I'm supposed to throw it through, probably. No, wait. No, I can't throw it through.
Or just like a fly, you know, like button its head against a window.
Can I just airstrafe this? Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. Key. Yeah, wait, you're missing the. Oh, why is that wall paintable? Okay, whatever. Fucking Source Engine decals. I was gonna do a question mark, but I guess, you know, it's not really a question. It's just a demand. It's fair enough. Demanding it for the chat. I guess we can drop one more. Why not? Fuck. Dang, I need it to go.
One more key. I'll do one more key. Fine.
I think this is a drop conc, actually. Oh, yes, it is. All right, hold on. Fuck. I'm supposed to drop that other one behind. Let's see. Ah! Okay, wait, no. This is definitely just one. There we go. Oh, no! I didn't time it. Fuck. Okay, here we go. Oh, that was totally it. Fuck you. I got this. It's all about the timing. I think it's easier to drop the conc and get like the timing for it.
Last
Like that, sort of. Is that an E or a 3? What the fuck?
It says there exists.
Okay, it's a set exists. All right, love it. Some mathematical notation keys.
Well, it doesn't have to be a set. It can be like an.
Oh yeah.
If you're in fucking second order logic, baby, then. Ooh.
Yeah. I will beat this map, I promise. Oh, come on. That was totally close.
I'm not. That is the last key, though. I don't want to.
How is that not boosting me? Is it bouncing? Oh, it's probably because it's bouncing. No, it's too early. It's too early. Whee! Oh, man. Almost.
I enjoyed doing like a verbal key earlier. That was pretty good.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone got that. Probably. I mean, that's probably some... Yeah.
You just go back into like VOD like immediately right on Twitch.
Right. Well, you can clip too. It's yeah.
Oh yeah.
You just clip it and then just watch the clip.
Terminal Frankel. Yeah. Is it Frankel? I never know how to pronounce that.
Oh, how is that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's not
ZFC.
No, it's too early. Dang it! What am I missing here? Hold on. It's like 1.1, I think. Yeah, it was 1.1. Okay. And then up and over. Okay. Dang. So it looks like I can stand up there, so that'll be probably where I want to go. Probably want to throw two on the ground.
This is too hard.
I'll prime a... no. Don't want to jump. Okay. It was bad timing. Let's see. So, yeah, okay. I could actually probably do this just in 2. Oh, come on. So
this
close.
Tier 10.
Yeah, honestly.
Tier 10 conc or someone else. Like...
No, yeah. If you guys haven't seen the EMP conc showcase or EMP in general.
Oh shit, I've not actually watched that. I keep meaning
it is
to watch some of those. Yeah.
It is great.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's actually insane. Fuck. Okay, hold on. And
High level conc is just like
something
I
else.
appreciate what's going on and like how hard it is, but like I don't know, it's like watching fucking
Ooh, I could probably handheld the second one actually. But yeah, it is an excellent showcase of what conc can actually like be. it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's EMP basically playing harder maps, and just yeah, the skill that goes into it. It makes my current gameplay look like a joke.
It's just so precise, like
yeah.
The nuts. I'm currently watching you in Momentum and also on stream on my other monitor, and I have no.
There you go.
It's not...
That's too. Yeah. Oh, there we go. What the fuck? Okay. No. Okay, where do I? Hold on. What? Where do I go? Over here? Oh, fuck. I thought I had to go all the way up. Okay, so it looks like I just go over there. So then which direction is that? Which way do I want to face? This way. Okay. It is a very hard tier too. This is very, very much harder than like Imhotep. Is that how you pronounce that? I probably just butchered that. Imhotep. Yeah. Oh fuck. But it's all about timing.
Because basic's interesting.
Trying to curve.
At one we're gonna have to shout at Crank over the size of the textures in that map.
Of Imhotep?
No,
Which one?
basic.
Oh.
Taught Crank how to do PBR textures one day, and then he went and just made these like deranged textures. It's a cool map, but
Wait, I can stand
I
on
think
this?
it's like 60 megs of just weird textures.
Wait, that okay? You could actually just one conc this if you can just. Oh wait, but you have to like do it. You won't. Okay, fine. Hold on. Okay, never mind. That was insane. So yeah, we don't currently have like rate limiting with specific packets, but we'll have that. Like obviously, we'll want to check. Like if you're sending too many, and then yeah.
Yeah. What was that nuke?
That's part of it. So if you shoot like a bunch of rockets or something,
oh,
pretty
I
nuts.
see. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Oh fuck. Okay, this is just embarrassing. I'm gonna go to an easier map. I'm gonna go to easy 2. I guess. Let's try it. And then how long do I have? Okay, I got like 10 minutes. So.
What? Is there 2 easies? Have we got easy 1 as yeah. The first
easy
one is like the end of the first one's broken. I don't know about the
Oh, okay.
easy one is like actually like a tip or
Fuck.
It's just the last stage is way harder.
Easy. Why is there this? Okay. Wait, what? Okay. I had to curve for that one. That was okay. This is a drop conc. But you want it to land in the water, right? Yeah. Okay. See, I'm good at conc. It's just that map. No, fuck. Okay. I was supposed to drop that second. That'll do. That will do. All right.
God, our map downloads are so fast.
Yeah, right? It's actually pretty great.
I tested the like download speed over all of it, but okay.
I mean, they're small files in the first place, so even if it took like a second, like it's still like it's an entire map. So there's no expectation. If we put the map file size in the browser, which I think we honestly should do in the future, but just so people are aware, they're like, oh, it's this taking forever because it's downloading like a gigabyte map. Just kidding. Like we're not gonna.
File size in the DB then, or actually query it from the bucket?
No, it'd be in the DB. Yeah, it'd be in the DB.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we can add that. I mean,
actually, we could actually get it if it's during download.
No, but that's going to be. Yeah, I guess so. But if you want to start before, then I mean, it's very little text in stuff DB. So.
Yeah.
No. We just add that at the same time we do the hash and the.
Ooh, some strafing there. Okay. Yeah, it's great because you can tell this is totally like goldsrc, like the very like tall column, like very blocky.
Yeah.
From the older days. There we go.
Is it like demo from 8 years ago? This is way older. This is
older, yeah. This is Team Fortress Classic, which is like
this could be
90s.
We might actually store the release date on here. No, some of them.
Some of them, it's hard to know too.
Yeah. So Conc Speed, for instance, came out in I think the late 2000s, the year 2000, I think.
Wait, hold on. Where are we going?
Old. No, I mean yeah.
Okay, it's a double drop. Oh shit. Yeah.
Proper old school stuff.
That's too high. If I jump on it, it's too high. So I don't know. Do I have to wait a little?
File size sommelier. You're like, yeah, I like to sniff the file.
There we go. Oh no! I wasn't far enough over. Oh, that's embarrassing.
I mean, in the future, like we can definitely get to the point where pretty much every map file is like well under 20 megabytes. Because it's a combination. If we do Atlas, then we split out all the textures backed in anyway. But then in theory, we don't even need to include cube maps in the future because modern GPUs can do a cube map build like pretty much instantly if you actually like time it well and do it asynchronously. In which case, you wouldn't even need to store the cube maps. We literally could do it on map load, and it would take like a second. That's just an extra second of load time. But light maps, yeah, it would still be light maps, I think, right? Light maps would be the one big thing left, I believe, unless we do those in real time, which.
No, yeah, that's what real-time lighting solves, right? But the idea there is that you trade low performance machines for pre-computed light maps, which you aren't really going to change and provide a lot of details still. So it's like a trade that's not really worth it in the long run. I mean, it looks great, but like still, you can have elements of real lighting with like CSM, right?
Yeah. We
So.
were talking about this the other. Was it earlier? I think it was a meeting. It wasn't about that CS:GO map where it's literally they do the light maps in fucking like Blender or whatever.
Yeah, they do a higher render, light map pass, and then just store it, and it's like an 800 megabyte map.
Well, no. They do the light maps outside of source, right?
Ooh.
They make. I believe the map is actually like the whole geometry is done in Blender, and then they do the lighting in Blender and bake it there, which is so stupid.
Yeah.
That's how you get source looking super fucking good. Is you literally just bake every texture like that. So you'd like doing light maps.
What's up
like...
with this water? Is this like a?
Yeah, that looks great.
It's a weird like single line. Some chemicals in this water. Wait. Oh wait. Okay, I could totally air strafe that actually. I can see why this is tier 3 or tier 3.
Well, that was almost nice.
Oh, damn it. Oh, too early.
We go for 5 hours now.
Yeah, I think it, you know.
No.
Is it 9 o'clock? Let me see. Yeah, it's pretty much pulling up on 9. Is there anybody else streaming Momentum or a game mode that we support?
Let's have a look. Is that or offers?
True that. Can always support the otters. Oh, I just don't have enough horizontal speed for the air strafe there. Let's see. Okay. All right. Got a conc to each platform here now. Got it. Okay. And then you have to like throw it like straight up. Where am I going? Fuck. Okay, I could have checked before. Okay, there. So I have to go. You could totally like airborne juggle this. Actually, no.
Yeah.
It's not enough
That's
space.
the thing. I didn't realize that you could just stand on these when I was playing this map.
Yeah. So you kind of can. Yeah. Because you can just stand on the edge and like drop. Okay, up there. I'm gonna try to skip 2 at a time. That's too low. Ooh. Oh, wait, I hit the ceiling. Okay, so I have to get further along. So back here might not be the move. Oh my god. I can get further there, but okay, let's see. Oh, fuck. Timing. Alright. I'm only halfway through the map. I'm really hungry. I am a bit tired. Yeah, sorry again about the Comcast stuff. Yeah. Oh, that's embarrassing. Well,
quite convenient. Like
we'll leave it on that.
Being able to take over the stream for a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Like and we'll probably have proper like backup protocols if that happens again. Because if I lose power or something too, where it's like I don't even know when it'll come back, it'd be good to be able to like trade off and then have somebody else like pick up, and then I can just like come in from my phone, assuming that's charged. So, yeah, but cool. That ends the 17th monthly Momentum Team Q&A. Thank you all so much for watching. We're gonna raid Tim's Tams is playing.
Tim's Tams,
yeah. So if you haven't ever joined a Momentum raid, the standard raid message is please play and then your favorite game mode and then a smiley. So ours is gonna be please play conc. But you can play whatever you want in that game mode, as long as it's in Momentum. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Catch you in the next one, hopefully with more stable internet, or maybe even a new location for me to stream from. We'll see. what's happening with real life stuff. But thank you all so much, and yeah, catch you all in the next one.
See ya.
Bye bye.